Here we go again, sports fans. I'm Ernie Harwell, bringing you Chicago Cubs baseball. This is a national pastime on APBA, the voice of baseball in your home since 1951. We're coming to you from out here at the park. Today, the visiting Los Angeles Dodgers will test the Cubs at home.
It's opening day. The sounds of practice are stilled. The mitts are oiled, and another season begins. This is the first of a three-game set.
The Cubs take the field here in the first. Defensively for Chicago. Grace at first base. Sandberg at second. Dunston, the shortstop. Law at third. The outfield consists of Dawson in left field, Walton in center field, and Smith over in right. Berryhill is behind the plate, and on the mound for the Cubs, the right-handed Maddox. He will be facing Dodgers starter, right-hander Hershiser. So settle in. We're ready to start this game. To get it going, Sachs. Sachs, recently known as a solid hitter. Sachs waiting. Maddox staring in, ready to work. He lets one go. Fly ball, left field. It's playable. Dawson moves under it, and he's got it. One down. Shelby's up. A trusty bat. Maddox looking home. Maddox over the offering. Loop to right. Smith racing in. If it stays up, he'll get it. Coming hard. Still coming. And he makes the catch. Two down. Gibson coming up. Kirk can hit. Maddox prepared to work. The pitch. Hot smash to third. Law gets his glove on it. Now the long throw. Grace scoops it on one hop, and Gibson is retired. Nice play on both sides of the infield. 3 away. So the Dodgers go down 1-2-3. Dodgers nothing. Cubs coming up. For the Dodgers. The Dodgers take the field here in the first. Defensively for Los Angeles. Guerrero at first base. Sachs at second. Anderson, the shortstop. Hamilton at third. The outfield consists of Marshall in left field. Shelby in center field. And Gibson over in right. Socha is behind the plate and pitching for the Dodgers. Hershiser, the right-hander. He can get that big strikeout for you when you need it. He comes at you. Leading off, Walton. You can count on your own. Walton, ready. Hershiser staring in, ready to work. The pitch. He goes down on strikes. One away. One away. We have Smith, the bat for the Cubs. Excellent credentials with the stick. Smith has patience. Smith waits. Hershiser prepared to work. The pitch. Cut on, hit in the air to right. Gibson drifts over, taps the glove. And Smith is gone. 2 down. Sandberg, bat in hand. Sandberg, good at the plate. Ryan steps up. Hershiser looking home. Here's a pitch. Cut on, a topper out front. Hershiser has it, goes to first, in time for the out. So the Cubs are retired in order. No score as we go to the top of the second inning. The Dodgers will have Marshall, Guerrero, and Hamilton here in the second. Here's Marshall to start it off. He gets his share of hits. Right-hander Maddox, ready. The pitch. Marshall dribbles one down the first baseline, but Maddox is able to reach it. Shovels to Grace, hustling back, and that's all for Marshall. Now coming up, Guerrero. Guerrero, recently known as a solid hitter. Guerrero knows how to get on base. Berryhill ready to receive. Maddox comes home. Popped up off third. Law drifts into foul territory and gathers it in for the second out. Hamilton now walks out to bat. Yeah, a modest hitter. Right-handed Maddox goes to the set position. To the plate. Just catches the plate. See you later. Side retired. So the Dodgers go in order. No score. The Cubs will get a try in the bottom of the second inning. The Cubs will have Grace, Dawson, and Dunston here in the second. Here's Grace to lead it off. Capable of some fine hitting. The hitter stands in. Sosha set. The pitch comes in. Popped up to the right side. Guerrero looking up, waiting, puts it away. One down. One gone. We have Dawson to bat for the Cubs. He's earned his reputation at the plate. Hershiser will go to work on him. Hershiser into the wind. Line to right. Coming on is Gibson. He's there, and he pulls it in. 2 away. All right, 2 away. Dunston, the hit. Shawan is a tough out. Hershiser prepares to come home. He brings it in. A healthy cut by Dunston, but he sends it straight up. Sosha flings his mask aside and cradles the ball to retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, and at the end of 2. Los Angeles due up. Maddox will now face the bottom of the Dodgers lineup. Sosha, Anderson, and Hershiser coming up. Sosha to lead it off for the Dodgers. Batting left. A dependable hitter. Maddox will go to work on him. The pitch. Sosha piles into this pitch. That could be trouble. Smith races it to the wall. Back. It's history. Home run for Sosha. So they collect the solo homer, clubbed in his very first at bat, and the Dodgers go ahead by a run, 1-0 here in the third. And that's the first base knock for the Dodgers in this game. Well, here's the right-handed Anderson to take his swings. No outs, a run in. A trusty bat. Anderson ready. Maddox looking home. And the pitch comes in. It's popped up in the air to the left side. Dunston comes in. He's under it. And he makes the catch for out number 1. One out, third inning. Next up, Hershiser. Oro taking his first at bat of the season. Berryhill sets up. The pitch. Just over the knees. The plate up. Thumbs him out. 2 down. Here's Sachs. 2 outs. None on. Steve steps up. Catcher Berryhill sets his target. The pitch. Sachs goes the opposite way down the line to right. Fair ball. Smith is racing for it. Into the corner. Sachs is around second. He's going for third. Sandberg's relay. Not in time. Safe at third. Triple from Sachs. For Sachs is first. Triple of the season. The Dodgers have two away. Sachs at third. The top of the third inning. Shelby walks up. John steps up. Catcher ready. Looks at third. The pitch grounded hard to Dunston. And he spears it. The throw to first. And he's gone. The half for the Dodgers. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors. They leave 1. They break the deadlock. The score now stands 1-0 Dodgers as we head for the bottom of the third inning. Bottom of the lineup, Berryhill, Law, and Maddox coming up. Berryhill will get it started for the Cubs. The switch hitting Damon will bat left here. He can surprise you at the plate. In the box now. Sosha sets up. And the pitch comes in. Hit like a bullet. Sachs waves at it. But it's by him into right. And Berryhill racks up a base hit. And that's the first base knock for the Cubs in this game. One on. Here's Law. Vance, a modest hitter. Berryhill with decent speed. Hershiser will go to work on him. Here's the pitch. Law scrubs it to the left side. A swinging bunt. Hamilton charges it, picks it up, guns it to first, and they get him. 1 down. Berryhill moves to second on the play. Okay, the Cubs have 1 gone. Berryhill on at second. Here's a pitcher, Maddox. Gregg taking his first at bat of the season. Hershiser climbs the mound. Hershiser staring in, ready to work. The pitch. Maddox squares. It's bunted to the first base side. Guerrero picks it up, looks at third, and goes to Sachs, covering first for the easy out. Maddox gets the job done. Berryhill moves to third. Two outs, third inning, 1 on. Walton up the bat. Hershiser looking in at the target. Berryhill off third. Hershiser winds and fires, grounded hard to short. Anderson fields it, the throw to first. And he's gone. For the Cubs, no runs on 1 hit. They leave 1. They had a chance but could not convert. The score is still 1-0 Los Angeles as we go to the top of the 4th inning. The Dodgers now send up the heart of their order to face Maddox, Gibson, Marshall, and Guerrero. Gibson will start it off here in the 4th. Kirk steps up. Right-hander Maddox ready. The delivery. Spanked hard to the right of second. It skips past Sandberg for a base hit. He didn't have enough time to react to that smash, and Gibson is aboard with a single. Marshall to face Maddox. Gibson is jockeying for a big lead off first. Batter waits. Maddox is ready to fire it in. First baseman Grace ready for a throw from Maddox. Gibson is off for the pitch. He brings it home. Lined back to the mound. It's off his glove. Marshall races down the line. No play. Gibson holds up at second. No one out. 4th inning, 2 on. The top of the 4th inning. Los Angeles now sends Guerrero to bat. The batter stands in. Berryhill ready to receive. He cranks and fires. On the ground to deep short. Dunston can't get there. It's through for a base hit. Dawson running in. Still coming.
Gibson
Is around third. Marshall is around second. They're waving
Gibson.
in.
Gibson
Scores. They're holding Marshall at second as the throw comes into second. So Guerrero with a ribby single, and the Dodgers now lead 2-0. Hamilton walks up, 2 on, first and second. No one out. Hamilton takes his stance. Maddox set. Maddox delivers. Pop foul behind first. Sandberg is over. He's under it and hauls it in. And the runners hold. Marshall at second. Guerrero at first. 1 away. The top of the 4th inning. Scioscia gets set to face Maddox. Maddox focuses in on the target. The pitch. Scioscia pops it up behind the plate. Berryhill tosses the mask away. Moves under it. And he makes the catch. Okay, Marshall at second. Guerrero at first. 2 away. Here's Anderson. He stands in. Maddox comes set. The pitch. Grounded hard at long. He's up with it. Fires to second. And they get him for the final out. The half for the Dodgers. 1 run on 3 hits, no errors. They leave 2. They help Hershiser a little. The score now stands 2-0. Dodgers as we head for the bottom of the 4th inning. The big hitters coming up against Hershiser. 2, 3, 4. Smith, Sandberg, and Grace. Smith starts it for the Cubs. Scioscia sets up. Hershiser deals. Poke to left center. It's playable. Marshall and Shelby converge. Shelby calls him off, and he pulls it in. He closed that gap in a hurry. 1 away. Sandberg up there. Sandberg gets in there. Scioscia sets up. Hershiser deals. Breaking ball, grounded hard to Hamilton. It's off his glove, but he recovers and throws quickly, and he's out. And that's the 2nd out. Grace walks up. Hershiser looking in. The pitch. Scorched back through the box. It caroms off his leg. Anderson charges over. Bang, bang, play at first. Grace is out. Hershiser shakes it off. He'll be all right. 3 down. So the Cubs go quietly. 4 in the books here in Chicago. Cubs still with a 2-run deficit. Hershiser sacks and Shelby to bat next. Pitcher Hershiser to lead it off. Maddox will go to work on him. The pitch. Batted slowly toward first. Grace feels it and feeds Maddox coming over for the putout. Sachs is up next. Steve can hit. Sachs now ready. Berryhill sets up. The pitch. High fly ball to deep right center. Walton is racing to the track. So is Smith. Walton waves him off and brings it down. 2 gone. Two down. 5th inning. Shelby's up. Shelby is 0 for 2. Catcher Berryhill sets his target. The pitch. It's a shot to left center. That's a base hit. Shelby rounds first. Walton takes it on the long bounce. The throw to second. And Shelby holds with a single. Okay, next up,
Gibson.
2 gone. Shelby on at first for Los Angeles.
Gibson.
Has a hit and 2 at-bats. And he scored once.
Gibson.
Stands in. Maddox comes set. Shelby well off first. The pitch swung on. Strike. Shelby is going for the steal. Berryhill strong arms it down there. Out. Good throw.
3 down.
The line for the Dodgers. No runs, 1 hit. The score still 2-0. Cubs trail. For Chicago, it'll be Dawson, Dunston, and Berryhill. Leading off, Dawson. Andre ready. Hershiser looking home. The pitch to Dawson. Hit to straightaway center field. Plenty of room. Shelby moves under it and takes it in. 1 away. Dunston is the next hitter. Dunston ready. Hershiser looking home. He comes home. A whiff. 2 gone. We have Berryhill, the bat for the Cubs. Berryhill is 1 for 1. Right-hander Hershiser ready. Here's the pitch. Berryhill cuts at it. A scribber off the end of the bat, hugging the third base line. Hamilton lets it roll. And it rolls foul. Strike 1. So Berryhill steps back in. Pitcher Hershiser set to go. The pitch is on the way. Lined hard to right toward the gap.
Gibson.
Cuts it off on the bounce. Berryhill has to hold first. Damon with his second hit in this game. Two outs, 5th inning. 1 on. Law up the bat. Uncertain at the plate. Law in the box. Hershiser focuses in on the target. They start the runner. 9 to Hershiser, and it's off his leg. Law races down the line.
No play.
Berryhill holds up at second.
Score that one is Shanburn single.
Pitcher Maddox to hit. 2 down. Berryhill at second. Law at first. Hershiser sets up on the rubber again. Sosha set. The runners take their lead. The offering swung on. Easy bounce at a Sachs. He's up with it. He flips to Anderson at second. And they get him to retire the side. That'll do it for Chicago.
No
runs on 2 hits. No errors. 2 left. They waste a good chance. Cubs behind the Dodgers. 2-0. The Dodgers now send up the heart of their order to face Maddox,
Gibson.
Marshall, and Guerrero.
Gibson.
Leading it off. Capable of some fine hitting.
Gibson.
In the box. Maddox looking home. Maddox into the wind. Right down the middle. Strike 3.
1 down.
Marshall to hit. 1 down. The Dodgers can count on him. The hitter stands in. Maddox is ready to fire it in.
To the plate.
A high drive to deep to center. Walton has it all the way.
2 down.
Guerrero up batting 5th. Guerrero has a hit and 2 at-bats.
has a ribby. In the box now. Maddox will go to work on him. Now he comes home with it. Popped high to the right side. Sandberg drifts back. He's calling for it. He reaches up and brings it down. 3 away. Maddox sets them down in order. The score still 2-0. Cubs trail. Chicago now will send out the top of the order. Walton, Smith, and Sandberg. Walton starts it for the Cubs. Walton gets in there. Right-hander Hershiser ready. He wheels and deals. Popped up. Sosha scrambles near the stands. It's playable. And he makes the catch. 1 down. Now coming to bat for the Cubs, Smith. Smith knows how to get on base. Sosha crouched down now. Hershiser delivers. Long fly to center, Shelby. He's going. He reaches out. He makes a catch. 2 down. Two gone. The next Cubs batter is Sandberg. Sandberg has done nothing in 2 trips. Sandberg steps up to the plate. Hershiser staring in, ready to work. Hershiser now. He swings, but he held up. Nope, he went too far. Ryan is down on strikes. That's 3 away. Hershiser sets them down in order. The score still 2-0. Cubs trail. For Los Angeles, it'll be Hamilton, Sosha, and Anderson. Hamilton leading it off. Uncertain at the plate. Jeff waits. Maddox will go to work on him. Maddox into the wind. Hamilton dribbles one to the left of the mound. Maddox can't reach it. Dunston charges in, grabs it, and throws in one motion. And nips Hamilton at first. 1 away. Sosha now walks out to bat. He bats left-handed. Sosha waiting for Maddox. Maddox prepares to come home. He wheels and deals. Popped up. Berryhill scrambles near the stands. It's playable. And he makes the catch. 2 away. Two away. 7th inning. Anderson the hit. Anderson has done nothing in 2 trips. Anderson steps up to the plate. Berryhill sets up. Maddox brings it. Swung on, and it's chopped down the first baseline. Grace takes the high hop. He flips to Maddox, covering, and they get him. So the Dodgers are retired in order. The score is still 2-0 Los Angeles as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Okay, folks, on your feet. Take a break for the 7th inning stretch. For Chicago, here in the 7th, Grace, Dawson, and Dunston. Here's Grace to start it off. He bats from the left side. Sosha set. Hershiser winds and fires.
scorched back through the box. It caroms off his leg. Anderson charges over. Bang, bang, play at first. Grace is out. Hershiser shakes it off.
He'll be all right. One down.
Dawson is the next hitter. Right-hander Hershiser. Ready. Hershiser now. Grounded hard wide of third. Hamilton just reaches it. Over to first. In time for the out. For the second out. Here's Dunston hitting sixth. Dunston is 0 for 2. Dunston stands in. Sosha set. Now the delivery. There's call third strike right down the pike. That's 3 away. For the Cubs, 3 up, 3 down. After 7, it's still 2-0 Dodgers. Hershiser sacks and Shelby to bat next. Pitcher Hershiser to lead it off. Pitcher Maddox set to go. Here's a pitch from Maddox. It's a whiff, 1 away. Now Sacks to face Maddox. He's the top of the order. Maddox is ready to fire it in. The pitch. Called strike. Strike 1. Sacks back in the box. Now Maddox ready. The pitch. Breaking ball. Grounded hard at Long. It's off his glove, but he recovers and throws quickly. And he's out. 2 down. 2 down. Next up, Shelby. John is 1 for 3. Shelby relaxes himself at the plate. Right-hander Maddox ready. Here he comes. Didn't mean to swing. A slow roller to the left side. Dunston will have to rush his throw, and he gets Shelby. Nice play. 3 down. So the Dodgers go down 1-2-3. The score still stands 2-0. Cubs down as we head for the bottom of the 8th inning. The Cubs will send out the bottom of the lineup. Berryhill, Long, and Maddox. Berryhill to lead it off for the Cubs. He'll bat from the left this time. They need to get him on. You don't see Damon taking many pitches. He's already delivered 2 hits in the game. Over in the on-deck circle, Long stalks Hershiser. Hershiser takes a quick glance toward the power hitter. Now he looks in at Berryhill. Batter facing Hershiser. Sosha crouched down now. The pitch. Right in there. He's called out on strikes. 1 away. One down. 8th inning. Next up, Long. Batting 8th. Long has a hit and 2 trips. Hershiser focuses in on the target. The delivery. Long clubs a high drive. Deep to right. It could be Gibson to the track, and he takes it at the wall. Long just missed it. 2 gone. Maddox is scheduled to hit. Pitcher Hershiser set to go. Cubs skipper Anderson walking down the bench. You can mark pitcher Maddox out for the Cubs. Anderson not letting him bat. McClendon will now hit for him. That's right. He grabs the bat. He'll take his time getting to the box. So Maddox gets his innings. He pitched 8. The game for Maddox. 2 runs on 6 hits. A homer. He stands to lose it unless the Cubs can make up the 2-run deficit. McClendon comes up to bat. He gets his share of hits. The hitter stands in. Pitcher for Scheischer, eyeing McClendon. Now he's ready. The offering. Way off the plate. That'll be ball 4. And a free pass for McClendon. And that's the first walk issued by Scheischer. That was McClendon's first walk of the season. Okay, folks, listen up. The Cubs have 2 gone. McClendon on at first. We have Walton coming up to hit. We're back at the top of the order. Jerome is 0 for 3. A dinger ties it. Sosha ready to receive. Here's a pitch from Scheischer. And he fans him. Walton is gone. That's 3 away. The half for the Cubs. No runs, no hits, no errors. They leave 1. The score is still 2-0, Los Angeles, as we go to the top of the 9th inning. The Dodgers now send up Gibson, Marshall, and Guerrero. Williams is coming on to pitch for the Cubs. For Williams, this is his first appearance. He's a southpaw. Gibson will start it off here in the 9th. He's a lefty. Williams takes a few warm-up pitches. He's rubbing up the ball. We're ready to go. Williams focuses in on the target. The pitch comes in. Gibson hacks at it and shoots it skyward into short left center. That could be trouble. Dunston puts on a burst of speed. Walton won't be able to reach it. Dunston cannot get it. He had to leap over sliding Walton to avoid a collision. And Gibson holds first for the single. That's Gibson's second hit of the game. Nobody out. 9th inning. 1 on. Next up, Marshall. He's their cleanup hitter. Marshall is 1 for 3. Williams looking in at the target. The pitch. Swung on. Strike. There goes Gibson. Berryhill with a quick release. The tag. Gibson has this base wrapped up. He's safe at second. That's his first steal of the season. So Marshall steps back in. Williams prepares to come home. Gibson moves quietly toward third. The delivery. There's a low liner to left. It's a long run in for Dawson. And he's got it on the run. Gibson is tagging. But the coach flashes the stop sign as the ball is fired back in. Guerrero, the hit for the Dodgers. Bats right. Gibson down at second. 1 down. Guerrero 1 for 3. 1 RBI. Pitcher Williams eyeing Guerrero. Now he's ready. Speedy Gibson edging toward third. The pitch is on the way. It's lifted high to shallow left. Dunston is drifting back, and he's got it. 2 down. One on. Hamilton will bat next for Los Angeles. A right-sider. Hamilton 0 for 3. Williams comes set. Gibson stretches his lead off second. Williams rocks and fires. A skyscraper to left. Dawson roams over. He turns left. And he makes the catch. Side retired. The half for the Dodgers. No runs, 1 hit. They leave 1. They cannot add to their lead. Cubs still with a 2-run deficit. The big hitters coming up against Scheischer. 2, 3, 4. Smith, Sandberg, and Grace. Smith will get it started for the Cubs. Left-handed hitter to face Scheischer. Smith can get on for you. Anderson is sending in Davis. He'll be playing left for Los Angeles. Marshall is out. Scheischer climbs the mound. He delivers. Driven to the gap in right. Gibson can't get there. It falls in. Smith is headed for second. He's digging. The throw from Shelby. A photo finish at second. Safe. The ump signals safe. A double for Smith. Here we go for Chicago. No out. Runner on second. Here's Sandberg. Ryan is 0 for 3. Ryan gets good wood. Grace waits on deck, kneeling, chin on his hand, staring out. Sandberg grips his right shoulder, takes a quick glance at the scoreboard. Hershiser works the ball with his hand. The ump is dusting off the plate. So now, Sandberg in the box. Now, ready. Hershiser is on the slab, shakes off the sign. Now he has one he likes. Sets his grip with the ball out of sight. Grace swings 3 bats on deck. The crowd is the 10th man here, pressing on Sandberg. Pitcher unperturbed. Catcher Sosha sets his target. Smith moves quietly toward third. He's on with a leadoff double. Hershiser spins and fires to second, and it's in the dirt. Scooped by Anderson. The tag. Smith's back safely. Now Hershiser is set again. Hershiser with the pitch. Sandberg gets this one in the air on the infield. The shortstop Anderson drifts over behind second base to make the catch. 1 down. One down, 9th inning, 1 on. Now Grace to face Hershiser. He's their cleanup hitter. Grace is 0 for 3. Grace with dependable power. Dawson swinging his bat lightly in the on-deck circle. Grace still not in the box. He lifts the bat, weighing it. Stares into the dugout. Hershiser works the ball with his hand. Sticks his glove under his arm. He's down on one knee, tying a shoelace. The batter stands in. Waits. Hershiser climbs the mound. Dawson waits on deck. Checks Smith at second. Smith moves quietly toward third. The offering. Off-speed pitch. Misses. Grace draws a walk, and Hershiser has walked the tying run. And that's only the second walk issued by Hershiser. That was Grace's first walk of the season. So, for Chicago. Smith on second, Grace on first. 1 down, down by 2. Next up, Dawson. Andre is 0 for 3. Grace at first can run. That's the tying run. Dawson wipes his left sleeve across his forehead. Wipes his hand on his shirt front. Hershiser shakes out his right arm. The batter stands in. Taps the barrel on the plate. Now, ready. Hershiser is on the slab. Righty against righty. Pitcher Hershiser set to go. The runners take their lead. The pitch comes in. Hit to Davis in deep left. Plenty of room. Takes a couple of steps to his left and brings it in. Both runners are tagging, but they're holding them as the throw comes back in. Okay, the action's on. 2 gone, 2 on, first and second. Down by 2. The bottom of the 9th inning. Dunston is out to take his hacks. Dunston 0 for 3. Dunston is struck out twice. Dunston pulls at his sleeve, bends to the ground with the bat in both hands. Hershiser shakes out his right arm. The Dodgers lead the Cubs 2-0. If the Cubs are going to score, then it will take a 2-out hit. Batter in the box. Works his hands on the bat handle. Lowers the bat an inch or 2. Leans in. Hershiser on the rubber. Righty against righty. Hershiser set. Here's the delivery. Grounded to short. He's up with it. Flips the sacks at second. And that's it. The Cubs have lost this game. The Dodgers have won it. Hershiser has the shutout. A complete game. And a beautiful hitter. That's his first shutout of the season. No joy if you're a Chicago fan. Here's the line for the Dodgers. 2 runs on 7 hits, no errors. They lead 4 for the Cubs. No runs on 4 hits, no errors. And they leave 6. Hershiser gets his first win. Maddox takes his first loss.
So the
Dodgers
gain a step.
for the Dodgers.
Overall, they now stand at
1-0. And this game is in the books. This is APBA and Ernie Harwell saying so long from Chicago. Dodgers take this one from the Cubs, 2-0.
All right, glad some folks came in and caught this little APBA game today. It was kind of a last-minute decision. I was just thinking here, just watching this game, and we were talking yesterday, and I'm not staying on long. We were talking yesterday about play-by-play and stuff like that, and how this game really beats every other game for play-by-play. And a lot of people might think that the Ernie Harwell thing is just a gimmick and it's just a narrator and things like that. There's a great engine under this, obviously. But if you watch, like, in close situations like that, this another proof why this is not just a mere narrator, but they actually, for the time in 1994, created an announcer or a narrator, if you will, that's aware, and that crowd as well, right? And so you notice there in the ninth inning how Ernie Harwell gets into all kinds of detail, the tiniest little details in the game. And until, and AI will catch up to it. I've been doing a lot of stuff with a thing called Chat AI and some other stuff. Until that can be worked into a game, this technology, and for 1994, is absolutely brilliant. And it really brings you into that. I mean, because the only way you're going to duplicate that is if you're calling the game, right? And, as we've done sometimes, we've gone to pitch-by-pitch mode in some close games in our Ned McGreevy League and other sorts of situations, right? But to create that sense of immersion, I think, is one of the things that this game does best. I think the other thing, too, is if you know how to track them down and stuff like that, and you get a bunch of seasons done, or if you're wealthy and you just buy seasons, whichever one you want. I mean, you can create seasons from the Fan Park Encyclopedia, as it's always fun to think outside of the box with any of these games that allow you to do sort of homebrew things or mix and match and stuff like that. And most baseball games let you do that. Yeah, and I know for a lot of people, their thing is just doing a season replay. I love what-if scenarios, and the more and more I play digital baseball, the less and less I'm inclined to do a season replay. That's not to say there's anything wrong with them. In fact, I think they have a lot of merit, because when you add in the human factor, you could say play that 1960. That always comes to mind, because I'll see Al do a lot with the 1967 Red Sox, and that is not an easy team to manage, right? Take them all the way, see if you can take them to the World Series, right? So there's certainly merit and value in revisiting past seasons, because you're not really doing a season replay because you are the variable now in there, and I think that's awesome. Or to relive great moments in baseball history, or to see if they would happen again. So season replays are fun, but I love creating these what-if sort of leagues, right? And in this league, I mean, there's a mix. There's not really any old, way back teams. I try to keep these more modern. And the reason I do these usually during the day is, people are working, or, even on the weekends, they're doing stuff around the house, and maybe they want to have a ball game, and, other games you have to kind of sit there and watch. This one, you can walk away, you can make coffee, you can just, stretch out in the sofa. And if you're like me, and you're waiting for pitchers and catchers to report and baseball is your thing, man, there's no other game that does this. Even MLB The Show has good commentary, but you can watch that, I suppose. But there's something about this that captures just that feeling, and knowing that you've got a hell of a good baseball engine behind it. And so, but it was really just listening to that ninth inning, right, when the Cubs had a chance to tie it up or maybe even win the game, and every little detail, a hitter's bending down tie his shoelace and stuff like that. You're just not going to get that in any other game, and that even in Diamond Mine, for as great as its play-by-play is, you're just not going to get that. And I think that APBA and Miller Associates created an unappreciated masterpiece here. The fact that it's still available but people are unaware of it is APBA's fault. And every time, and again, no knock on the people who play Strat PC, but every time I do a game in APBA Baseball for Windows, I just can't help but realize how just light years away this game is from that one in every way, aesthetically, orally, whatever, ease of use in doing things. And I am so glad that this game is still available. I know that APBA is really putting a lot of its energy now into APBA Go, which is actually less than this game, which is kind of interesting. You know, because it's just the basic game. If you play APBA Go, unless they've changed it in the last year or two, you really have limited options. And I know when you guys see me do these games, I'm letting the AI play both because I just want to enjoy the game. I'm not managing. You can manage if you want in this game. There's so much, but I would say to those of you who have the Fan Park Encyclopedia, whether you bought it as I did or you found it on a certain website, make some seasons, do some things, think outside the box, bring them in here, and it's a baseball playground, but it's a baseball playground that once it's set, you don't have to play. You can just listen if you want, you know. And I think and that is just wonderful. And you know, I don't know. I can't praise this game enough. Does it have its faults? Of course it does. But you know, there's no perfect baseball game out there. But I appreciate that there are a few people that are really like, wow, this game's still available. Or, you know, people coming in here and say, I forgot how great this game was, and it is a great baseball game. You know, can you do things on this on Action PC that you can on Action PC Baseball? You can do a lot in here of what you can do in Action PC Baseball, but certainly you can't do everything, and certainly not with the same ease of use. Ballparks are a real problem with this game, and so every ballpark I can find, I snag. So I made a great find for some old ballparks that I'm not putting out yet, but finding a ton of old ballparks. I haven't installed any of them yet. Is going to allow me to really get deep into this game and start to think about like just creating a league on here of great second place teams, ones that just didn't quite make it. All kinds of stuff, and I encourage anybody that plays baseball for Windows to seek out the resources, whether it's people you know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no, Squire, or you find those things out there. There's a lot, so much you can do with this game that Strat really doesn't allow you to do. Just comparing these two giants, and certainly the Strat game, especially the cards and dice game, it's superb. It's superb, and I would never ever tell anybody not to play it. They're great games, and they've been around for a long time. I just listening to that night thing and hearing comments from people saying, "Well, yeah, the Ernie voice is just a gimmick. It's really not that good of a baseball simulation." It is. It's Apple cards and dice, but it's done with artificial intelligence, and you don't have to buy the cards like you do in Strat, right? In Strat PC, you can get the very basic version, and you don't see cards. And this, you can see them, which I think is really cool. If you play this game, the APBA Master game, you can see the cards during the game, looking at your rosters. How you can just so easily, I remember trying to do some homebrews on the Strat PC baseball game, and I couldn't just call something the 1925 season because, right, Strat's like, well, no, that's the name it uses. So you had to do you had to make it like the 70-25 season and all this kind of stuff. And again, you had that sort of Spartan weird interface, no sample looping. But again, guys aren't playing Strat PC for that reason, and I get that. and I do think it's a good game. Um, but this one, I guess this is just one of those things where I don't even know that it was appreciated in its time because it has a large community. It has a large thriving community. It still does. Oh yeah, Arnold. I mean, Action PC is still my favorite too. I Action PC is mind blowing what it can do. It is, right? And I mean, you can even, add those niceties, like player photos. I mean, here's Forever Remain 90. He was listening to the game and looking for photos of 1990s Red Sox players. You can't bring in pictures into this game. I wish Apple would institute that, but it probably won't. But there's so much more to this game than just the Ernie Harwell narrator. In fact, when I first got it back in the day, I played some games just sitting there watching the play-by-play and had the Harwell voice off, actually. And it was still very engrossing. It's got a superb play-by-play engine that I'm glad Apple put a lot of love into it. This game's doing a lot. It's doing so much. Not only is it crunching all the numbers and using these AI managers, and if you're doing it the way I'm doing it for our sort of daytime or every once in a while broadcasts that I do, or that Robbie's starting to do again right now, it's running two AIs. It's running that voice, which isn't just some narrator reading text from the screen. There's a lot going on and an excellent baseball engine. But that being said, yes, Action PC Baseball and Out of the Park 2023, those two, my God, the things that you can do with them, and quickly, much more quickly than you can do with baseball for Windows. This game does require, kind of changing up your mindset a little bit as far as, navigating, understanding how each module works with each other module. But once you get into it and you dig deeper and deeper and deeper, you find that this is truly a deep baseball simulation as well. It's not just a gimmick with a Hall of Fame broadcaster. Not going to convert everybody, certainly. Just like I'm one of those people that a Strat PC player is not going to convert. I played the game and it never hooked me. I'm sorry to say. Strat cards and dice, that's another story. I had a lot of fun with that as back in my undergraduate days. In between classes, if we were playing things like Starfleet Battles or Talisman or whatever, we were playing a lot of baseball. And the three cards and dice games that we played were Status Pro, APBA, and Strat cards and dice. Hours and hours, and we should have been. Thank God I finished and graduated with highest honors. I don't know how, with how many hours and hours and hours of just cards and dice baseball I played in the student union at Penn State as an undergraduate. And when I got to grad school, of course, grad school is a different animal. And it's really hard to get people together in grad school to do stuff like this. And so, these games. And there are just times, I know this is terribly geek, but there's times when I would, and this is before I had my YouTube channel, and I'd be like, man, I'm sort of tired, but I don't really feel like listening to music, because music's a big part of my life, but there's times I don't want to think music, and I can't practice magic if I'm not going to lie in bed with a couple decks of cards and practice sleight of hand. That's kind of difficult. And I would just put on a game or let this thing run, maybe 5, 6 games in a row, and somehow just falling asleep listening to this game. Maybe too, it's the fact that I'm not an old dude, but I do remember when baseball was on the radio, and I think this also brings back those memories. For me as a kid, late at night in KMOX in St. Louis had this incredibly strong radio signal, right? And I'd be able to listen to Jack Buck announcing the St. Louis Cardinals late at night. Ken Castro talking about listening to games late at night, and you had your little radio there. Maybe it's that. I remember my best friend in college, on nice days, right? We would put my computer speakers in the windows of my flat. I had a first floor flat or apartment, however you want to call it, and we would let a couple Ernie games run, and we'd just be out there having a catch, listening to Ernie Harwell, maybe on a warm March day before the actual baseball season started, or during the baseball season if the Pirates were off that day, or we're out there playing wiffle ball, whatever. So I think for me, there's a strong emotional attachment to this game as well, in which I'll always love it, even though baseball simulations like Action PC Baseball and Out of the Park eclipse it in so many ways. Um, it still gets back to a deep baseball engine that if I want to do a season replay, I can. And if I just want to do this, whatever, I can just listen to baseball being announced anytime I want, you know? And if I wanted to do a season replay completely and hear it, that's really kind of hard to do. You have a great channel out there, classic baseball on the radio, but you're kind of at the mercy of what they have. Now, again, they have like, I think they're close to 400 classic broadcasts now, and that's a thrill. You know, listening to, the 1934 All-Star Game, for instance, it's on there. You know, where you hear, Carl Hubble striking out Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons, and Joe Cronin. I mean, that's something in baseball history that's preserved. Or like today, by the way, just to let you guys know, Bleacher Bums Gaming did another edition of Dead Ball Diaries. It was a shorter one today, but still a good one. With one of the greats of the game, Sam Crawford. And anybody following our Ned McGreevy League will have heard us bandy that name, Sam Crawford, around. One of the game's great early power hitters, Hall of Famer. So I understand at times Robbie's, shall we say, bordering on fanaticism to get people into this game. It really has a lot to offer. And isn't it nice, again, that we live in a time where on our hard drives we can have this, and we can have, for those of you that play it, Strat PC, and Out of the Park Baseball, and Action PC Baseball, and Diamond Mine Baseball, and so many others. Some of you are big PC Replay baseball players. And then you also got the, Cards and Dice folks. I mean, RGL Network is built a hell of a following doing Inside Pitch. He's doing 1988. I think it's awesome. Christopher Slovic doing a lot of stuff with Out of the Park Baseball. To be able to not only now for ourselves, but share with others and give people choices. That was kind of why I did that long stream yesterday, just showing a bunch of different baseball games. And as it turned out, we ended up not only getting, I wasn't doing it to try to get subscribers to the channels, but turn some people onto some games. And I think that was really cool. And these are games that you don't see every day. So yeah, but I really just wanted to touch on just the fact, just really quickly, that, or like the other night, when that no-hitter, that I finally got a no-hitter in digital baseball, and we just had 6 people in here, but man, they were rooting hard and as involved in that ball game as if they were actually there witnessing a no-hitter, and it was astounding. It just really was astounding. And I just wish APBA would market this game better. I'm going to be emailing them next week and telling them about folks that are picking up the game by virtue of the fact that they're seeing it being played on YouTube. And maybe they should jump on it a little bit and say, hey, we do have something amazing here. Let's do this. Anyhow, I just wanted to say that because this game gets some serious knocks from people, including one esteemed broadcaster on here who actually had the temerity to say that this game is unstreamable. I think I have probably close to 100 Ernie Harwell games on my channel. I don't know how many videos I have, but probably close to 100 of them are Ernie Harwell games. Apparently, it's streamable, so, but it does. It gets some undeserved hard knocks by folks, and I kind of feel badly because I think they're missing out on something that is unique. There is nothing like this game out there as far as, having the sense of immersion to listening to a ball game? Is it a little jumpy when Ernie says a name or he's talking about wins and losses? Well, of course, it's Ernie Harwell isn't calling these games in real time, but the illusion is there. And as a magician, I appreciate that. To go ahead and have that illusion that I'm listening to a baseball game being called by a Hall of Fame broadcaster. And I love that. I just love it. So anyhow, enough of that. Let me just catch some final comments here in chat. Smelling Wrestling Geek is in here. NBA 2000, he says, has the best commentary of any sports game in his opinion. I'm not a baseball or a basketball fan, but I'll have to check out some videos to see. I'm sure it does. And I mean, again, I've listened to commentary on MLB The Show. It's fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. But looking back here, a game that was doing this in 1994, nobody else was trying to do it. It's pretty damned amazing. Sure, there's all kinds of games that eclipse it for a lot of reasons. I think, but even MLB The Show, with all its gorgeous graphics, and damn it. So, like, I'm talking about lying back and listening to a game with MLB The Show. You can, I think there's a manager mode in there. You can actually watch games on there, right? So it's a cold day in February, and you can watch MLB The Show on your monitor or whatever from your PlayStation. I don't think that's available for PC. It might be. I don't know. I'm not really into it so much as other things. But yeah, that's nice to know. What else do we have here? Arnold Hunter says Action PC is still his favorite, but he's enjoying learning baseball for Windows. Awesome. Good stuff. Telling in Greek, I wish Strat showed as much love to the PC versions of their games as they do or other versions of their games. Yeah, they should. Yes, Robbie, Status Pro Baseball has been around a long time. Not as long as APBA and Strat, but yeah, it's been around. And it's a good game. It is a good game. Robbie asks, I know you like Action PC and all. It's a great game. Don't get me wrong, Baseball Windows is the game that captured your heart completely. And games are going to do that. I get it, Robbie. I get it. I really do. I've loved this game for, a long, long time. And will continue to do so. Even as Out of the Park Baseball gets closer, and it will, to MLB The Show graphics. Those are going to happen. That's Marcus Heinsohn has said that that's what they're going for. And it's going to get there. And it's a beautiful looking game right now. And you can do so much. And it's a bargain at $40. You get everything. And what I'm hoping is that it continues to do so to push the dinosaur companies like APBA and Strat to re-examine and say, wait a minute, here's this game out there called Out of the Park Baseball that's just getting tons and tons of players and attracting 20-somethings into the game and teenagers into the game. And I'll say the same for both Strat and APBA. How many 20-somethings are saying, yeah, I want to play APBA PC Baseball, or I want to play Strat PC Baseball, or APBA or Strat Cards and Dice? You're going to get more teens and 20-somethings that are going to play Out of the Park Baseball, and that's a good thing to get the younger folk into this fantastic hobby that we have, whether it's cards and dice or whether it's doing, baseball games digitally, whether replays or what-if seasons or tournaments or the things that we can do. I mean, encourage it. And I'm glad Out of the Park's there for that reason. And I know a lot of the old-timers, the old dice chuckers, hate that game. I don't knock them for hating it. It's not their cuppa. I get it. But I don't know. I just, somebody be into Out of the Park Baseball, right? They played MLB The Show all these years, or God forbid RBI Baseball, which sucks, right? And then they're like, but I want to go deeper, right? Because MLB The Show's doing cool things. Like you can, there are like those special legends players that are in there. So Babe Ruth is in there, and some other guys, Lou Gehrig. I don't know who else, but they have some of these great classic players. And there's going to be a few of these guys that are going to say, wait a minute, man. This whole baseball thing, I want to get deeper. I want to manage. I don't necessarily want to also always be up there pitching, hitting, fielding, running, stealing, whatever. Um, so those games are good in their own right. Um, but I hope that our hobby continues to thrive, with baseball being assailed by all the footballization of it and basketballization of it, of our national pastime, that somehow, in some way, we can help keep the game alive while the idiots who are running it can finally wake up. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed today. MV just coming in. He says, uh-oh, MV has gone deep down the rabbit hole today. What have you done, Robbie? Or MV. MV, I'm sorry. MV says he has gone deep down the rabbit hole. Dare I ask, mate? Let's find out what MV has to say here. Oh, you picked up a couple books from Amazon. And as MV types in, Robbie says, I think one thing the Dice Tech needs to understand is we are heading more and more toward a digital age of gaming. Well, but here's the thing. I don't think, Robbie, I would only, I would say this. I'm not going to, I can't completely agree with that. I'm not saying your opinion is invalid. It's not. I think there's value in sitting down face to face and chucking some dice. I really, really do. I love it. Steve is way out there in Utah. I'm here in the Commonwealth of PA. And if I can meet up with Steve and chuck some dice, I would. Or be geek enough to jump on a jet, take my laptop with me, and play some head-to-head action PC with Steve Tate. I'd do it in a heartbeat. And MV, I will get to your comments in a moment. I would do it in a second. I have piles of board games over here, Robbie, like not Monopoly and stuff like that, but like, the Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle-earth, Massive Darkness 2, Sword and Sorcery, the Hexplorit system, two of the games in the Hexplorit system. Oh my God, Thunderstone Quest, Draconis, Gloomhaven, Madara, and while these games can be played solo, Folklore: The Affliction, which everybody should be playing, by the way, it's awesome. Pathfinder, but while all these games can be soloed, you can also play them in a group. I hope that dice chucking games like Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer never disappear. I don't know, Robbie, how much of an analog gamer you are, but you know what? Go to a gaming store, man, for all its craziness and stuff. And you could go in there. You could play Talisman. You could play D&D. You could play Magic: The Gathering. You could sit in on a game of Massive Darkness, which is a blast. So but where I would agree with you is I think some of the dice chuckers will see anything digital and they will say, well, it's not accurate. Well, that's just completely just facetious. So I will say that. But no, I hope that the days of chuck and dice will never, ever go away. There is something amazingly visceral. And I don't care whether you're playing baseball or you're playing Dungeons and Dragons. We'll use Dungeons and Dragons so that way we don't piss anybody off too much in the baseball or sports gaming community, right? And you got to roll for crit because there's a big ass dragon there, man, and he's about ready to go medieval on your ass. And when you're rolling those dice, man, and you know this is it, do or die. Your wizard that you've built up to level 20, man, and he's facing this monstrosity, and you may die, right? And your cleric is already wiped out, and there's nobody that can resurrect you. And it's an exciting feeling, and I hope dice chucking never goes away. I watch Robert occasionally on RGO Network, and you know what? He's come in here to my channel, I think, once. but he's always a gentleman to me when I go into his channel, and always makes a nice little Beatles reference and stuff like that. I watch people in his channel, and the power of cards and dice is undeniable. If you would have told me even 10 years ago that I would be every once in a while sitting down and watching some dude roll dice, I would be like, "Are you crazy? Have you lost your mind?" But yet, I love watching it, and people are into it, and they're waiting for that roll of the dice, coming down that dice tower, or what have you, or watching Sports Time Machine, where he's using Strat PC up there, but he's rolling the dice, and sometimes he's playing strictly analog. David Baseball Demos, right? Which I can't wait till his game of the week comes back. I enjoy that on Saturdays because I remember the NBC game of the week, and I love it. There is nothing wrong with cards and dice. There's things you can't do with cards and dice that you can do digitally, but that's obvious, right? So no, Robbie, I'm not saying you're in Egypt. Not by any means. You're a very, very smart guy, but I don't think that's the resistance. I don't think the resistance or has to do with this fact that dice gaming is going away. It never will. I mean, oh my God! Even though you don't throw dice in the game, Frosthaven just came out. And any of you that are board gamers, you know how big Gloomhaven is. Frosthaven is mammoth, and I hope to buy it this year. And that game weighs in at 50 pounds. Sorry, MV, I haven't had to use kilos in so long, or forever remain 90, I should say. So however many kilos that is, that's a big-ass game, and people are loving it. People are buying it. So MV says 2 books, Amazon, watched a video called What If? The Best Season and the Best Season, the challenging finish. It's 2 books, taking a Negro League All-Star game versus greatest teams in Major League Baseball history using a sim engine run by the former president to pursue the pennant. Cards and dice watching can be so fun, says MV, because of the power of the imagination. That is huge right there. And I think, didn't we touch on that? Didn't we touch on that too? We talked about that in our long video yesterday. That when you're rolling, you're playing cards and dice, or you're playing digital PC, and it is something like this, even, right? You saw Steve Sosha at bat. You could just there in your head. Steve Sosha was there. Cards and dice, man. You're playing, and there's George Brett at bat. You're chucking those dice, but nothing is greater than the power of the imagination, and I think MV hit a grand slam there. Robbie, I'll give you a double on your comment though, because it's a good comment. There is resistance to it, and I don't get it. But one of my reasons, and I don't resist cards and dice. I loved it, but the things that I want to do, I can't really do in cards and dice, which is why I don't play it. But if I could get together with Cousin Ken or Clinton or David Baseball Demos or Robert, I would. Or Al Red Sox fan, I would love to play cards and dice baseball. I would absolutely love it. I in a second I'll be like, let's go. Let's get. I'll get some Guinness. You get what you like, and let's get a pizza and let's do it. Let's do it up old school, and let's play a quadruple header. I don't, So I don't know, Robbie. I mean, have you ever done any cards and dice baseball? It's really fun. It's really fun. He says he sees my point there too. I'm also thinking all along about the type of people we're talking about. The 20-somethings, are they going to want to play? They're going to play. Well, no. As far as sports goes, they're going to want to play a digital game. And most of the 20-somethings are playing Madden, and they're playing MLB The Show, and I guess what, NBA 2K or whatever. When I was a 20-something, when I was a 20-something, I really wasn't. I loved baseball, but I wasn't interested in this hobby. I was out doing music and magic full time, so my interests were elsewhere at that point. But I still followed baseball. But to be honest, if I was a 20-something today, I would be playing MLB The Show like a madman. But if I'm looking around on my Steam, and because I love baseball, and I saw out of the park baseball, but then somebody showed me Strat PC baseball, I'd be on out of the park baseball 24/7 because they are wisely tapping into that market. And these older companies like APBA and Strat aren't doing that. They're catering to, folks, everybody in this channel, mid 30s and up, right? We've got guys from their mid 30s or later 30s to guys in their 70s. We might even have guys older than their 70s here. I have no idea. Ages don't really make a difference to me. And V says, by the way, Beatles Eternally, when downloading the old games, do you have to download down easy setup? Are you going for old time baseball? Or which ones are you talking about? Yeah, so quick question, MV. It really doesn't matter. Yes. So, and Forever. So there, Forever Main 90. He's 53. I'm guessing you're probably around our median here. Yeah, same thing. If it says easy setup MV, download that version because it means you don't have to mess with DOSBox. It's ready to rock. Ready to rock. Right? Well, I'm 87. No, I'm not 87. But anyhow, yeah. And so old time baseball is the same way. If you don't have it MV, it's on that site. And download the easy setup. Just run it, and it already has the DOSBox configured. You're ready to go. You don't have to mess with it. If it doesn't say that, you will have to mess with DOSBox. And you're very welcome, my friend. All right, half a smoke left, and then I'm going to crash for a little bit because I got a show tonight. It's kind of funny. I love doing music, but I really love doing the baseball stuff. There's only 5 in here, but it's 5 people talking baseball. And it's awesome and talking baseball games, and I love it. Can't get groupies this way, but oh well. Robbie says, I wish the Diamond Mine had one easy setup. I'm horrible with DOSBox. Or Diamond Dreams. Diamond Dreams. Sorry, not Diamond. I'm just going to say Diamond Mine, just fine. Can begin reading how Bob Mays sim ran. And I'm jealous of you guys that played Lance Hafter baseball. I've never played it. I want to play it. Thank you, MV. Yeah, please do put it in the Discord. I don't have a lot of money, so I know that, but I know that Ken Castro was playing ballpark baseball. I wanted to get into that cards and dice game, but holy shit, that game is more expensive than. You got to have more money than God to play that game. I think. I don't even know if it's still around anymore. I don't know. I love this hobby of ours, and I'm so gratified yesterday that we had so many viewers and willing to at least look at some things about some different games. And then last night we were kind of poking around, showing even older games, which is a lot of fun. So, love the hobby, and maybe someday that the sort of that hard line division between cards and dice and digital baseball will go away. I hope it does, because I think each has its place. It really, really does. MV says he's playing a bit more Diamond Mine. It's growing on me. It will. It takes time. Diamond Mine, you just look at it on the tin, and Walk Thousands the other day. You should feature more of the older digital games sometime. I will, Robbie. That's coming up. We're going to go way back into some of the arcade games too. So we're going to do that sometime. We're going to dig deep into the archives and maybe do a game of oh hell, I don't know, ESPN baseball tonight or something. We'll do a game on that and just enjoy it. I mean, somebody here, World's Worst Gamer yesterday, as a result of yesterday's thing, picked up Out of the Park 8. And he's having fun with it. So how cool is that? Oh, yeah, talking about Cy Seymour. Yep. Yep. He has, I hear, arguably the greatest pitching season of all time in 1905. Yeah, absolutely. So, I don't know. That's it. I don't really have much else to add. It really was just talking about that that bottom of the ninth, and how Ernie just draws out the tension, just like in a real baseball game, right? Because those players are drawing out the tension. You see that when you have the game on the line, right? And this is still early season in this thing I've created, right? But you're waiting. You know that until you step in that batter's box, you still have a chance to win. That pitcher's holding on to that ball, and he knows as long as he's holding on to it, the game's not over yet. And everything's on the line, and APBA just brilliantly captures that feel. And it also captures the feel when it's a yawner of a game, when somebody's up 10-0. They put in those nice little touches of Ernie getting a letter from an admirer, or somebody named Bob writing in that saying that he's hoping I hope I can get your broadcasts on a satellite dish. Those just nice little touches that just add to the illusion, and I love that. I really love that so much. But I'm glad Diamond Mind is growing on you guys. It will still take a while. Thank you, MV. That means a lot. He says that the streamathon has gotten him through a very stressful week. Oh my God, Steve's mini-thons. Yeah, they only last 4 hours. I know. He's a rookie still. I don't know if Steve's listening and just not saying anything. Steve's a rookie. No, 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 no. Just wait till he goes 9 hours in a day, buddy. Nah, but Steve's awesome. And where else can you get a community like we have in here, where the other day when Steve and I were on for 4 hours, he's explaining the Negro League file that he's doing. All of us spent the last hour looking at rosters. We didn't play a game. We didn't play a game in that streamathon yesterday except for a half inning here and an inning there. And people were like, this is cool, this is fun. I don't know what that says about us, either that we're just awesome baseball people, yes, but it also might say that we need intervention. So, nonetheless, I'm glad, MV, that it helped you through a very stressful week. I mean, if it did nothing more than that, mission accomplished. So, anyhow, Robbie's thinking about doing a recorded doubleheader today, and I'm trying to convince him to at least do a recorded in-depth tutorial game on PC replay baseball. Who knows? It might be Robbie's stream of that game that might finally make me decide, all right, this is pretty cool. I don't know. But if you haven't, please go to Robbie Wartburg's channel and subscribe. He needs some love. Robbie, feel free. You're a mod. You can put the link to your channel in the chat. And somebody watching an hour and 28 minutes and that will say, oh, yeah, Robbie Wartburg, man, I want to subscribe there. So please do that. And anybody else who's a content creator, put your link in there. Do it. Do it, do it, do it. It's community, it's community, it's community. Oh my God, Robbie, I don't even remember. And you should do the stream for Steve and I, because neither of us, because we never taught, because I didn't know Steve when I tried out PC Replay Baseball twice. And he and I were talking, and he said, I gave up on that game. I can't even figure out how the hell to start a game in it. And it was the same thing for me. I did finally, I don't remember, I think I got one game started, and it was like, and then there was something I wanted to change, and I couldn't change it. It's a weird interface to me. So, all right, MV got a CD drive today. We're going to have to turn MV on to the stuff on digital. Well, that's right, you are in Digital Skybox. So you'll find a couple very nice, helpful things in there in Digital Skybox to greatly enhance your Baseball for Windows experience, MV. And we'll hook up emails and stuff like that. I promised I'd send you some stuff. So, and Arnold Hunter, wherever you are, I know that Robbie's been helping you, but I'll certainly hook you up too. So, I don't want you guys just having to deal with just 3 seasons. That's a sin. Just waiting for Baseball for Windows. Well, if you are on Digital Skybox, MV, you don't really have to wait. You can get... there's Arnold. Good, buddy. MV, Robbie should probably show you. So yeah, hoping you get it before Steve, right? Because you're right. You're in Wales. Steve's in Utah. That would be funny that a game would get across the Atlantic faster than it would 2/3 of the United States. But if you're on Digital Skybox MV, and Robbie will explain to you where to find it, you can get an ISO image of Baseball for Windows 4.0 and the Fan Park Encyclopedia. As long as you know how to mount an ISO image, which is super easy to do, you're off to the races. You don't even have to wait. So just saying, you can go ahead and start creating seasons and stuff like that, and actually play off the ISO image. So Baseball for Windows is on Digital Skybox. I'm not going to talk about the legality about it. It's all I know is it's there. So there you go, and then you can at least get a jump on Baseball for Windows, and on the older versions, you get to hear Ernie talk about some of the great broadcasters and things like that. And I don't know if Robbie's actually done that, but yeah, you can burn the ISO to a disk if you want. You don't have to, but yeah, you can certainly do that as well. MV says he can't wait, but he has to. Also, with the 120,000 game thing I ordered, are there baseball games in there? Yeah, there are. There are baseball games. So anything that came out, so you're going to find MV, you're going to find Earl Weaver Baseball on there. So like, and Earl Weaver 2. Anything that was on the Amiga that was a baseball game, like Bo Jackson Baseball, all that stuff, TV Sports Baseball, will be on there. Micro League Baseball is going to be on there. So it's consoles and computers. So you're going to find some arcade baseball games on there as well. Yeah, it's that thing I always talk about, Robbie. It's a 2 terabyte drive that emulates arcade games. So back in the day when you had to put quarters into machines to play games in things called arcades, which are making a comeback, by the way. Those are on there. Sega Genesis, Sega Master System, Super Nintendo, my God, N64, Commodore 64, the Archimedes Acorn. So now I'm speaking a little bit of MV language here. The Acorn, the Amstrad is on there, and Television is there. Atari 2600. It's gazillions and gazillions of games. Atari Jaguar, Atari Lynx, the Atari 800 series of computers on there. Atari 7800, 5200, 2600. Almost every game system you can imagine is on this thing for like $120. I don't know what it cost in pounds, but MV ordered it. Yep, and Television was your first machine. Horse racing was badass on there. You can find them on Amazon, Robbie. Your dad and his mates used to gamble on the horse racing game on Television. That's funny. That's hilarious. Yeah, Robbie, you're probably. I think you'd like it, man. Blast from the past. I remember back home, and showing my stepson, and he was just losing it. Because he was like, oh, does it have Super Nintendo? I'm like, of course it has Super Nintendo, you nit. And he put it on there and was playing The Lion King and playing, oh my God, oh my God. It's so much fun. Well, you're going to be able to go in that time machine again, MV, and go back. And for Robbie, who's a little bit younger, he's going to be encountering games he's never played before, ever. Back when games were games, buddy. All right, so there you go. How are my injury settings? Jimmy, what do I set them to? Forever remain 90? Because I do have injuries, but I'm not quite sure what you're asking. Like, to what extent or whatever. Because I even have injuries set up here in Baseball for Windows too. I think it's unrealistic to play without injuries. So it's just my personal thing about that, though. Ball players get injured. A little confused. You have to check both boxes. All right, let me fire up Action PC 2023 and really quickly, and let me see where I have things set. Well, they're Robbie. They're Apple computers are on there. The 2GS is on there. The old Apple twos. All that kind of stuff. Um, let's see, Ned McGreevy League. Do I know we have? I don't know what we did with injuries in this. Let me see here where we have. And I'm sorry, I'm really blurry today. Yeah, okay, so I have it set here. Um, if you can see here my screen, Forever Remain 90. I have one game injuries. I just have it as one game injuries as opposed to multi-game injuries. I didn't want, with the limited pools in this particular league, I didn't want to go multi-game injuries because some of these are not 25-man rosters, but I have the maximum injury length of 3 days, which I think is good enough. Um, but there's really no, you can kind of do what you want as far as that. I know that's a terrible answer. For the Ned McGreevy League, I have it just set to one game because of the limited roster size. For the 1960s one, however, the draft league we're going to do, this is going to be multi-game injuries, and I'm going to set the max probably out to 15 days. Does that help? If you want both, do you have to check both or just multiple? I would say that just do when you check both, since they're not radio buttons, then you can have anything from a one-game injury to multi-game injuries. But just remember then, that you can also set down here the length of injuries, and you can set these up to pretty much the entire season if you want. I don't think I would ever go that far. Let me turn off multi-game or the guys will lose their crap here. So that's how we have it set up, but only because some of these teams don't have a full 25-man roster. So hopefully that helps. Max 7, I think that's good. But yeah, if you want both, check off both. Absolutely. So you're already your gut was telling you properly. It was advising you properly. Yep, injuries, hardcore stuff. So yeah, there we go. Close that down. There we go. MV is contemplating streaming a baseball game. By the way, guys, you're very welcome Forever Remain 90. I got to do something for you here. This is something I do for folks that start to come in here pretty frequently. You are now a moderator, so that means you can post links, you can knock out the chat bots that come in here, whatever. So you're a moderator. Oh, Robbie, the Amiga was amazing. Oh my God, nothing could touch it back in its day. Guys, MV, would you be kind enough to quickly go to your channel, your main channel, and post the link to it? Post it in here. There's interest in the community. MV has a channel, does cricket, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, you're very welcome, Forever Remain 90. MV does cricket, does all kinds of cool stuff. Subscribe to his channel, and he's going to hopefully kindly put the link in here. And please subscribe and hit the bell and all that kind of fun stuff the creators hope you will do. And welcome our new moderator also. It's okay if it's MV. There's mostly bollocks in my channel as well too, so that's all right. Now we can have two channels with bollocks. No worries, man. No worries, mates. I think we need more bollocks around here. All right. One more stogie and I am out then. Guys, please subscribe. MV has just put the link into his channel there. I especially have an interest in cricket. So, okay, that was his last broadcast. And then everybody knows they can actually click on your name in there and then just be subscribed to your channel. However they want to do it, look at other things on there. And I do have an interest in cricket. Cricket's a cool game. Got to watch it, um, and both at home and here when I, going to university and stuff like that. I love cricket. I love it. So Robbie, the Amiga was a hardware multitasking machine. It had dedicated. It was so revolutionary. It was so ahead of its time. It had a dedicated graphics chip. Dedicated. So back in the day when PC players were doing CGA graphics, which were like those crappy different shades of purple and blue and stuff, Amiga was doing glorious color. Um, it was so powerful, in fact, that a company called NewTek created something called a video toaster. So in the 90s and early 2000s, a lot of like the sort of transition effects you'd see on television and the sort of metallic-looking text logos and stuff, those were done on Amigas. And the C64, awesome. Still the biggest selling computer of all time, the Commodore 64. And these were made in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. A PC 365, yep. Forever Remain 90 says, just watch the first two episodes up to 1910 of the Ken Burns documentary. Any other documentaries you could recommend on YouTube? Yes, absolutely. Um, it's a little bit grainy, but you'll find a VHS version, Forever Remain 90, of The Glory of Their Times. I definitely would check that out. Major League Baseball, I found it on YouTube. There's um, a history of the World Series that's good. There's also their own history of baseball, which if you can kind of just get rid of just kind of understand that the narrator's sort of meh, it's good. But the Ken Burns baseball documentary though is just wow. It's wow. I don't know how anybody's going to beat that. It's incredible. You might want to look around too for occasionally pops up on YouTube a great Negro Leagues documentary called Only the Ball Was White. That's great watching. Also, there's a guy which I've subscribed to his channel. Don't know him. He's not part of the community. The channel, I think he's called Prime Time, and you can go on there and find he has videos on like Sam Crawford, Lefty O'Doul, all these guys. So that would be something to check out too. But the Ken Burns baseball documentary is phenomenal. I have the accompanying book written by Jeffrey Ward, and it's brilliant. But if you're big into reading Forever Remain, if you can track them down, the main source material for the Ken Burns baseball documentary, especially for the early years, really, it's a series of 4 books by Harold Seymour, PhD, who has passed on. And these are brilliant histories of baseball. Dr. Seymour never got to finish the series. Volume 1 is called The Early Years, so from baseball's very beginnings, and he talks about rounders and one a cat, two a cat, and cricket. And it goes up to the beginning of the dead ball era. The second one's called The Golden Years, which is dead ball. And then the third book is called Baseball, the People's Game, and it is it focuses on semi-pro baseball and stuff like that. And then, unfortunately, Dr. Seymour passed away, and he was going to do the complete history of baseball. So something to look out for. And as you're reading, you'll be struck at how much Ken Burns drew upon Dr. Seymour's fantastic work. And for an academic, Dr. Seymour actually wrote in a very rather lively manner. So he's a well-respected historian that wrote these brilliant books on baseball. In fact, I've got one sitting right to my left that I refer to occasionally during our Ned McGreevy League, just to cheat a little bit. Oops. Oh, that one's dead. There we go. It's better. What you can look at pictures of an Amiga, Robbie, but it's not going to tell you what it was like. Get the emulator, save up some paycheck money. It's $120, but you're getting 120,000 games, and play some Amiga games. Your mind will be blown. Your mind will be blown. The Amiga was incredible for its day. And they are still making games for the Amiga. There are people out there still making games. The Amiga had a great thing. MV would remember this. The whole, it was called the demo scene, right? This computer was so powerful back in the day. People were creating these incredible graphics and sound demos that were just. And when you realize by today's standards, right? I mean, these machines didn't have, gigabytes of RAM, right, for a hard drive, or gigabytes of hard drive space. You didn't have that on Amigas. You didn't have like 16 gigs of system RAM. It wasn't like that. And it had a dedicated sound chip, dedicated graphics chip, dedicated chip to just crunch numbers. It was incredible. You're very welcome, Forever Remain 90. You betcha. The games were amazing. Not all of them. Not every, but there's a lot of great games in the Commodore Amiga. Oh my God. And the Commodore 64. As long as you're not, and I'm going to say it, as long as you're not a graphics whore. On the C64, there's veritable classics on there. And, again, Sega Genesis, Sega Master System, Nintendo, Game Boy Color. Robbie, you're such a gamer. You'll be in heaven playing retro games. Awesome stuff. No, MV, I don't have a voice. I don't have a voice for radio, my friend. I worked for a radio station, but I wasn't doing broadcasting. But I did used to work for a radio station. Just saw the Merkel Boner again. I wish, MV. I'm a trained actor, so my experience is in live entertainment, but not for radio. I'll tell you what, you say that now, MV, but if you go listen to Christopher Slovic, you guys want to hear a baseball broadcaster that sounds like the real thing. And Christopher has a team in our league. We rarely see him. He works in Pakistan. But he actually lives, his home is just across the state from me. He's in Butler, PA, near Pittsburgh. Yeah, so you've heard, Chris is phenomenal. Yeah, he's the best. He is, and I'm saying that there's some amazing broadcasters. Al's good too. Al's very good. But Chris sounds, first time, and I just knew Chris is just a dude that hung around. He would come in here. I would see him in Al's channel, other places, and I'm like, he has a channel. Damn it! And and he's doing an out of the park game, and I'm listening to it. I'm like, oh my God, why isn't this guy a professional baseball broadcaster? What is the deal? He's amazing. Ron Juckett is very good. Ron Juckett is very good. I would say overall. But now, that being said, strengths though, I would say that for boxing, and Al is very good at baseball. He's very good at F-ball and basketball and whatever. But there are guys in this community I think that have their strengths. And if you're into the sweet science, if you're into boxing, Al Red Sox fan is the best in boxing. He is the best. He's the best, the best, the best, the best. Al will draw you into, and you feel like you're right there at ringside. And Al's not. I don't even know. Al's probably not even listening to this, and I don't even know if he'll ever hear me say this. He's the best. Basketball, Dave Little. Dave Little sounds like the real deal, and the way he calls a basketball game is phenomenal. Baseball's a tough one, but I kind of have to give it to Christopher Slovic. Just edging out our Red Sox fan by a little bit, meaning that our Red Sox fan's very good at baseball. Christopher Slovic is superb. So, yep, Moker's Burner referring to the notorious. Oh my God, that base running mistake. Yep. And as you know, from the from Forever Remain 90, as you know from that documentary, that play happened 2 weeks earlier in Pittsburgh, and Johnny Evers remembered that. And players back in the day said that was common. That was common. That you just, once you saw the winning run score, you just didn't bother advancing to second. But the baseball rules say that the play has to be completed, and poor Fred Merkle. To his credit, though, John McGraw gave Fred Merkle a raise. And then what happened, as you will see in 1912, right? Because you've seen it before, so no spoilers. Fred Snodgrass in the 1912 World Series. Once again, for as hard ass as John McGraw was, he gave Snodgrass a raise. And V says, we just turned very humble. Dead ball games. The only reason is because I know that era, but thank you. I appreciate it. So, thanks, Robbie. Checks in the mail to you guys, or money on its way on PayPal. I appreciate it. As I've said many times, guys, I'm really on here to talk to you guys. The fact that I'm doing a baseball game is almost incidental. Like right now, Forever Remain 90 is talking about the Merkle boner in 1908. And you know what? That in itself is just something that I would love to get engaged in with people for hours. He also thought that you and Steve should play a game Ty Cobb versus Hannes Wagner. I'm up for it. I'm up for it. That was huge, right? The 1909 World Series, because you had the two first superstars in baseball, and they finally met in the World Series, and it was just crazy. You read about the accounts of Ty Cobb and Hannes Wagner, and Wagner just outclassed Cobb. And for my money, Wagner's a better baseball player anyhow, for a lot of reasons, and not just personality. I'm talking about as an athlete. Not to take anything away from Ty Cobb, but as I've said before, when Hannes Wagner came from the Louisville Colonels to the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Pirates didn't know where to play Wagner because he was so good. So you had that rare instance of somebody, because usually in baseball, right, we think of somebody as a utility man. It's like, well, we can put him in here because he's okay at this or okay at that, but he might not be good enough for a position. Wagner was the opposite. Wagner could play. Tommy Leach and Forever Remain 90. You already heard it, right, in the second inning of the Ken Burns documentary, and of course it's also well documented everywhere in all kinds of books and everything. Tommy Leach said, the league realized that not only was Wagner the best shortstop in the league, he's also the best second baseman, third baseman, outfielder. Wagner did it all, and hit, and stole bases, and hit for power. Ty Cobb played center field and was a great contact hitter and a great base stealer. But Wagner had the extra defensive ability that Ty Cobb just didn't possess. And Hannes Wagner retired from baseball as a player in 1917. 1917. So that's, 106 years ago? Something like that? What's my... yeah. And he is still considered the greatest shortstop of all time. And he retired in 1917, 1917, when the United States entered the First World War. There were still empires on the earth when Hannes Wagner played. And he's considered the greatest shortstop of all time still. So, I rest my case on the Flying Dutchman. Oh, absolutely. And I'm rooting for him too, and I don't have an ounce of German in me. But Hannes Wagner is my favorite baseball player of all time. Forever Remain 90. Of all time. Wagner is just amazing. Oh, yeah. Welcome to the rabbit hole, MV, of baseball. Welcome to the rabbit hole. I'm so glad. He says that you've turned me back into a baseball fan, or back into baseball. He lost so much interest after the strike. A lot of people did. And those of us who were hardcore baseball fans, I remember that night and listening. And we were hoping beyond hope. Fans all over the country. And I especially feel bad for Montreal Expos fans because they were in first place in 1994. And I remember Jay Bell coming on, and he was the spokesman for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he said Major League Baseball is officially on strike. And it was like, what got me through baseball ironically, because we're talking about it today, is the Ken Burns baseball documentary came out in that strike year. And listening to Buck O'Neill and remembering it, hey, this game is going to come back, and it did come back strong. But there's still a lot of people that are hurt by that strike. Still a lot of people, and MV are one of them. PIB 99 coming in. Wagner tore it up in his 1903 series replay. He went 10 for 20, including 8 for his last 13. Boston couldn't stop him. And in the actual World Series, Wagner was injured. So had he not been injured, your replay would probably be pretty damned accurate. Wagner was a machine. God. 1994 Expos versus White Sox World Series would have been very possible. And the fun thing is you can do it. Do it in Action PC. Set up that World Series and play it. I think it would have been a great World Series. And the Expos got screwed in 1981 too, right? That was the year that you had the labor stoppage in the middle of the 1981 season. And the Expos were in first place. They get screwed twice. And they were a great franchise. Look at the Cubs. Look at some of the teams that came from Montreal. Oh, my God. They had some great baseball talent up there in a crappy baseball stadium that was falling apart, Olympic Stadium. Tisk. So Forever Remain 90. Yep. Root for the Flying. Of course, he wasn't Dutch, but right back in the day in America, because the German, right, Deutsch, people misheard that and thought, oh, So he was not Dutch. And it was funny, I tell people one of the places I lived was Holland, and they're like, oh, that means you can speak to the Pennsylvania Dutch. No, the Pennsylvania Dutch speak German. I have to speak Dutch super slowly to them. They would have to speak German super slowly to me. The language is similar, but they're not the same at all. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, the Flying Dutchman. Lou Gehrig's parents, I believe he's the son of immigrants as well. I'm the son of, yeah. So I get it. I get that pride in your heritage. I think we all should be. MV lives in Wales, but he's from Jamaica. I would hope he is proud of his Jamaican roots. Robbie Wartburg, that looks like a German last name. I'm a McGregor, so that can be Scottish or Irish. I happen to be Irish. All right, guys. Hope you had fun today. This was I was going to just come in and just do like 40 minutes of Ernie and call it a day, but now here we are talking. Yeah, very proud of your Jamaican roots, as you should be. So MV, my young lady is half Jamaican, half Cuban, and yeah. Gehrig's parents were German as well. So the largest ethnic minority in Jamaica, I just learned this from her, are the Irish. I had no idea. And I have a lot of Irish friends, and I was telling my friend Paul a couple weeks ago, I said, dude, I just found this out. I said, the largest ethnic minority in Jamaica are the Irish. Blew his mind too. He didn't know it. So my roots are Northern Ireland. His are Republic of Ireland. But yeah, you do have a great history in Jamaica. You absolutely do. And I know so many people. Jamaica's on my bucket list to go. So many people I know that have visited Jamaica, so they absolutely, they have just a lovely time in Jamaica. So that one is definitely on my bucket list. And now with, I've got a girlfriend that's half Jamaican, and she's like, right? She's like, we're going to Jamaica. I'm like, okay. She's half Cuban, but so I can't visit Cuba, unfortunately, because I also have American citizenship. So the American citizenship prevents me from visiting Cuba, unfortunately, but do want to visit Jamaica. Yep, here we go. Look, he's doing it up here. Negro Beach, Port Antonio, Montego Bay, of course. Exactly. Ocho Rios. In fact, she mentioned Ocho Rios. So, be no surprise. But I told her, yep, we're going to go to Jamaica, but then I want to take her to Ireland. So maybe we'll hop over and visit you in Wales, because Wales is beautiful, and I want her to see the country of King Arthur. And see And see the language that has the most consonants in a row in the world. So Robbie has been to Ocho Rios on cruises. Cool. Yeah, Jamaica is. Yeah, I am very lucky. She's she's something. She's got a temper though, and I don't know whether that's the Jamaican side or that's the Cuban side, but she's got a temper, and I have a temper too because I'm Irish and Italian. So it's we were talking about that the other night, sort of jokingly. We're like, how are we going to navigate the fact that, right? You know, with my ancestry and her ancestry, and we both got the worst and the best of each side. So MV says he was born in London, lived in Jamaica, and now lives in Wales, and a baseball fan. Yeah, how does that happen? Madness. How does that even happen, right? Oh, so you say the bad temper's the Cuban side. And Pib, he's full-blooded Paisan. Capisci Italian, Pib? Um, Parla Italian? One day you'll explain. I hope you will. So, Pib, I got to ask you a question since you're Italian. What? Who? Me or my girlfriend Robbie? Who are you talking about as far as temper goes? Because I do have an answer for that, and yeah. So I do have an answer. Pib, I was curious. What? Oh, good, good. Learn Italian. It's beautiful. What part of Italy your family's from? Since you're Italian on both sides, you Southern Italy, Sicily, Northern Italy. Just curious. So either, um, wow. I probably my temper's probably a little worse than hers, but her temper's a little quicker than mine, if that makes any sense. And we're both very much alpha personalities. So, and we get that from our four ancestries. You know, Ireland, Italy, and I'm sorry, but every Jamaican I know, very very confident, strong people. Um, so yeah. But compared to Lefty Grove, okay. So Southern Italy. Okay, so you're Southern Italy. Then you are definitely Paisan. If you would have said Milano or Venezia, I'd have to say, yeah, you're Italian, sort of, kinda. But since Bari, and then your mom's family is not far from Bari, I know exactly. So my family is both from Sicily and Rio Nero and Volture, which is in the province of Basilicata. So Bari, right? You're down there at the heel. In fact, because in the Orthodox Church, right, the remains of Saint Nicholas had lain in Bari for um, like over 1,000 years, and now they've been returned to. Um, so that was great that Bari did that. So yep. So you are definitely Paisan, Southern Italy. Nice, 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 nice. So you are the son of immigrants then. Good for you. Good for you. No, no, that would no, MV, no, that was not. You guys haven't met her. That was not. It's a friend. No. Very proud. Awesome. Very proud son of immigrants. Good. Oh yes, she is. She is very nice. She is very nice. Yeah, that came in here. Yes, very nice person. She is. Distance and some other things and whatever, but so the person I'm kind of with, it's still very new and everything, and um, yeah, more Robbie's type, I think. Long hair, Robbie, very long black hair, bad tempered. Anyhow, thank you, MV. I'm looking forward to going to Jamaica with her. I think that's gonna be fun. She's she's already picking out her bikinis and stuff, so it's all good. But still new, taking it slowly. Well, it's the same with mine. She's like, "Well, I like baseball, but..." So, I'm not gonna pull her into it. I am not gonna pull her into it. So, anyhow, it's neither here nor there. But yeah, MV, you're gonna have to tell us a story someday about how a Londoner who grew up in Jamaica and now lives in Wales is a baseball fanatic, because that's just that blows my mind. That blows my well, I mean, I guess for me, I think curiously my love of baseball came from my Irish heritage, not from my Italian heritage. So, and baseball's only now starting to pick up steam in Ireland. However, in the United States, in the 1890s into the early days of dead ball, baseball was dominated by the Irish. Italians didn't start making it into baseball until really the 1940s. You had Ed Abbaticchio, you had a few Italian baseball players, but it was really later on. But then the great wave of Italian immigrants came later after the Irish as well. So, all to do with Ebony Magazine, WGN, and WOR, and a trip to New York, and bubblegum cards. Get you into the greatest game in the world. It is. Well, some night regale us with that long story, because I definitely want to hear it. So when I was living in Holland, so Holland actually has professional baseball, and the name, and I'll type it into chat, the Dutch name for baseball is this, and it's just cracks me up. And it is pronounced exactly as it's said. It's called honkbal in Holland, but they have professional baseball over there, believe it or not. Not at the level of, say, Australia's major leagues, but they do have, and Italy has professional baseball. And, of course, baseball now making a little bit of inroad in the UK. The London series has been pretty well received every year, but I still think most Brits look at it as a novelty. But getting back to the Netherlands, I met a guy over there who did our taxes. And this guy was a baseball fanatic to the nth degree. So you got to remember, in the Netherlands, it's a tiny, tiny country. Could fit probably, oh my God, I mean, you could probably fit four of the Netherlands in Blighty. I'm talking like all the way up to Scotland, Wales, everything, right? Not just England. This guy, and you're living in a country where really soccer, as it's called here, is a religion. This guy, I guarantee, if I could get this guy in here, this Dutch tax collector, and talk to you guys, all you baseball historians in here, plus the guys not in here yet, or not in here right now, like Ken and Big Clue and Clinton Parks and those guys, he would give those guys a run for his money. And Pib, you're a baseball historian. I guarantee you, this Dutch tax collector will fry your mind with his knowledge of baseball. And he would every year fly to the United States and spend like 2 months just going to baseball games, major league and minor leagues. Could rattle off stats like he was a walking version of Total Baseball or Baseball Reference. This guy was brilliant. His love for the game, I've seen few Americans with a love for baseball, a passion for baseball that matched this Dutch tax collector. It was amazing. In Ireland, definitely, I ran into more baseball fans in Ireland than I did in the Netherlands. But it was just fascinating talking baseball with this dude from Holland, and just loved it. Yeah, it would be fun, wouldn't it, Pib? Paisano. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Just we'd sit there. he'd bring a glass of wine, bring a bottle of wine, and we would sit there. And after he would do taxes, and we would just sit there for hours and hours and hours and just talk about baseball, right? And the woman, I had lived with two different, not at the same time, at different times. I had two significant others when I was living in the Netherlands. So he'd be Don and my girlfriend, and be like, "You guys are gonna talk baseball?" Like, yup. So she said, "See you guys later," and we would all hours of the night. It was awesome. Look for the only time I could say in my life I look forward to tax time was when the tax collector would come, so I could talk baseball with him. It was brilliant, just absolutely brilliant. Good times. You guys would have loved him, man. Seriously, he would just, you talk to somebody that has a passion for something, you see it in their eyes. And this guy was just, I don't know, just like that. He was almost a savant when it came to the history of the game. And I mean, it's weird, right? You're sitting there talking to a person from a country where baseball really never, it's doing okay over there, obviously, because they do pay their players. But the Netherlands, really, they're kind of big baseball fans too, because one year they won the World Baseball Classic. I don't know if you guys remember that. The Netherlands. However, it's because most of their players were from Suriname, but they won the baseball classics, the Netherlands World Baseball Classic. But just listening to this guy, it reminded me. Did you guys ever see the Star Trek Next Generation episode where there was this scientist on board the Enterprise, and he was a baseball fan, and he would just play out the baseball games in his head, and remember Data had created something in the holodeck for him that he would be able to relive all this baseball, and he said no. He said it's up here. Hensley Mullins was Dutch, I think. I think so. I think so. I mean that's definitely a Dutch last name. Unfortunately, it was not my tax collector though. but but talking to this gentleman was like I would always flash back to that Next Generation episode of that scientist who would just, he says he was working this and playing out these games and in his head and stuff like that. And it was that was the same thing. Just listening to that, it was awesome. Pib99 says Dad came to America when he was 10 and became a big baseball fan. He rooted for all the Italian players. Joe D was also his favorite. Yeah. So I heard that growing up too, right? And if you guys saw if you ever saw a movie The Bronx Tale, that exchange actually happens in there too. If you guys saw it, right? So Calogero, right? He's a big Yankees fan, the little kid, right? The one they end up calling C. Robert De Niro plays his dad, the bus driver, and they're talking about baseball, and right. So Calogero's dad is saying, okay, who holds this record flat, and boom, 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 and then he says, he gets in a thing. And he says, what he asks his dad, he says, why is Joe D the greatest baseball player because he's Italian? And Robert De Niro's character answers, well, yeah, that's a part of it. And so in my family, it was the same thing, right? My grandfather was Joe DiMaggio. Everything was Joe DiMaggio. There's no, he didn't want to hear. He didn't want to hear about Babe Ruth. He didn't want to hear about Lou Gehrig. He didn't want to hear about Willie Mays. It was Joe DiMaggio. It was just Joe DiMaggio. And Italian Americans at the time, right? Pib, you understand it. Joe DiMaggio. I mean, the Italian immigrant experience was very different in America up to that time than many other immigrant groups. Um, and not to discount, but it was very different for Italian Americans. And to have somebody like Joe DiMaggio as a hero in America's national game meant so much. And DiMaggio was and again, I'm not old enough to have been around when DiMaggio played. Nobody in this chat is, but I hear the stories from older Italians, came to this country and they needed something to identify with. And Joe DiMaggio gave it to them, and to a lesser extent, probably up in New England, Dom DiMaggio, and in Pittsburgh, Vince DiMaggio. But Joe DiMaggio that was it, man. If you're an Italian, you're a Joe DiMaggio fan in those days. And I loved that scene. But my grandfather would have a catch. And boy, he could snap off a wicked curveball, my grandfather. But he would talk about Joe DiMaggio. On the Irish side, of course, that was a whole different ball game. They didn't want to talk about DiMaggio at all. And anybody who understands the Italian or the Irish and Italian mixed ancestry understands why that is. The two groups didn't exactly like each other. Although there is, Pib, did you ever hear this from your older Italian relatives that, at least in my family, there was this maxim that said, all right, if you can't marry an Italian girl, an Irish girl is okay. Did you ever hear that one? Because that's what I got. Irish girls were okay. If you couldn't get an Italian girl, then okay, Irish girls are all right. But that was pretty much the extent of it. My grandfather used to talk about, now I'm not going to get into it here because YouTube will think I'm being ethnocentric or something, but told me some definite interactions between the Irish and the Italians. And V says, I can relate to that. My grandparents came to the United Kingdom in the late 50s, and when the West Indian cricket team traveled to England and beat England, my older relatives' eyes, those players were the best. Yup. Happens everywhere, right? It's awesome. Something to be proud of, definitely. Taking England to school. Well, and what was it? So it was not that. So the last World Cup, when and I remember how the Irish were so just awesome, right? So you always had this, in America it's more, right, this Irish and Italian rivalry. Not so much in Europe, right? In fact, the two really identify with each other in a lot of ways, very much, especially Southern Italians and the Irish. But when the Irish beat the English, or when the Italians beat the English in the World Cup, I remember Ireland just lost it. It just went nuts. They loved it. They thought that was the best thing ever. When Italy, and so you would see all over the place the Irish flag and the Italians flag crossed with each other, and their neat stuff. Anyhow, Pip says, yeah, something like that for sure. But Italian girls were always the preference, always the preference. And oh man, absolutely. But Irish girls were okay. I remember, be like, so you have a new girlfriend, and the question was always the question first. And Pib, this will hit home: is she Italian? Is she Italian? It's like, no, she's Irish. Oh, well, that's all right. I often wondered, as I did date a Scottish girl, and I can't remember if she got the all right or not. I can't remember now. That only lasted a little while, but yep, it was the first. Is she Italian? It's like, she's beautiful. Does it matter? But there you go. God, talking about this Pip brings back amazing memories. Amazing memories. Learn Italian, my friend. Learn it. It is a beautiful, beautiful language, and you're really gonna get deep into, just like I'm trying to learn Irish now. I never learned Irish as a child. It's super hard language, but I actually identify strongly as Irish. So, and I've never lived in Italy, so I've actually never been to Italy. So I do want to go there someday. Grandparents always ask that of their grandkids. Yep, exactly. Is she Italian? Or ask the daughter, is he? And I think it was harder on Italian girls, because Italian girls, Irish guys, from my understanding, didn't get a pass. If you're an Italian girl, your boyfriend better be Italian. Just that's it. In fact, in the Godfather movie, right? So the Undertaker's talking at the beginning. He said, "My daughter, she went out with a boy, not an Italian, but right." So he had to tell Vito Corleone that he was not Italian. It was very important that he said that. and that actually cracked me up. She had a boyfriend, not an Italian. As if Italian guys, right? I know my cousins. Boy, they would get the third degree from my grandparents. They have a boyfriend. See, Italian. What's my grandmother would say? My grandmother would say, "Why can't you find a nice Italian boy? Can't you find? Why can't you find a nice Italian boy? What's the matter? What are you going to go out with this Irish guy for? This, you know, German guy or Polish guy? What? We got Italian. We got Italian. We have Italian boys all over the place here. What are you doing here with this guy? Yeah, funny. Love those movies. The Godfather movies. Yeah, 2 of the 3 I love. The third one, eh. But yeah, it's fun stuff. Fun stuff. And you really, for anybody that wants to look deeper into this Irish-Italian rivalry, just look no further than the history of Boston, Massachusetts. I mean, at one time the city was divided, right? The Southies, right? The Southies, as called in Boston, that was dominated by the Irish. The northern part of Boston, that was dominated by Italians, and you had the New England crime family right out of Providence, Rhode Island, and then you had, yeah. So imagine if you lived smack in the middle of Boston. How would you handle that if you were Irish Italian? You would almost have to live right in the middle. But yeah, the first 2 Godfathers are awesome. Weird trivia, and then we'll get out of here. There more years have elapsed since Godfather Part 3 and the present day than Godfather Part 2 and Godfather Part 3. And there was supposed to be a 4th one in the making, and Mario Puzo died. So Coppola said, nope, we're not going to do it. I would have loved to have seen a Godfather movie with Sonny and Michael and like young, right? So as they're coming up. Because by the time of the first Godfather, and the second Godfather, you see them as kids, as little kids. But I would have loved to have seen Santino and Michael and even Fredo. Come on, poor Fredo, right? Even though he was a rat. Seeing them making their bones coming up, making it more of like a street movie, I think that would have been a brilliant 4th Godfather movie. Or see what Andy Garcia would have done with the family, as Vincent. Love the Godfather movies. The third one, well, third one's an alright movie, but Coppola couldn't catch lightning in a bottle 3 times, but he did it twice. First movie, and in fact the only movie where its sequel also won Best Picture. And I think it's still the only movie franchise that has done that, because The Lord of the Rings, right? You had 3 movies, but it was only the third one that won and swept the Academy Awards. So The Godfather, I think, still is the only movie franchise to have done that. Avatar's probably going to do that now, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, I could do without the third one too. Mario Puzo's books carried on though after. Yeah, they did. I forget the author's name. MV is Mark something or other. But it was Francis Ford Coppola that didn't want to work without Mario Puzo. So I don't think we're ever going to ever see a Godfather Part 4. I don't think it's ever going to happen, which is a shame. Cinematic masterpieces that they're not really gangster movies either, guys, right? If you think about how the hell did we get onto gangster movies anyhow? They're not, right? I mean, Goodfellas is a gangster movie, and it's a great one. Casino is a great gangster movie. Road to Perdition, Miller's Crossing, those are gangster movies. But The Godfather, I think the Godfather movies are more about a family, but there happen to be organized crime in this family. I think they're more, and I think maybe would resonate more for Pib and me as far as being Pib being full-blooded Italian and me being half Italian, that there was so much in the Godfather movies that resonated about me in terms of family more than mafia. In fact, in the first movie, the word mafia is not even used. Godfather is about family, kind of like The Sopranos. Yeah, it is. It is. It's really about family. Good stuff, man. They are works of genius, both of them. And Sopranos wouldn't have been possible without the Godfather movies. If you guys are into this, I'm going to write the name of a guy's name in chat. If you guys ever want to binge a YouTube channel that has nothing to do with baseball, but everything to do with what we're talking about now, this guy here, I'm typing his name in chat, was a capo regime, and did he start with the Bonanno family and go to the Colombo family, or was it the other way around? Anyhow, this guy walked away from the mob. Didn't rat anybody out, but check out that guy, Michael Francesi. Check out his channel on YouTube. He does Monday sit-downs. He interviews mobsters. He reviews mob movies. He just did a recent interview with a guy who was the former head of the Aryan Brotherhood. But Michael Francesi is amazing. Okay, so MV knows about Michael Francesi. So he was Colombo first because he switched families. He started in one and went to the other, and I can't remember if it was Bonanno first or Colombo, but he was associated with both of those. Michael is superb and came out of that life. He is a real moneymaker. He's crazy. Yep, there's even one where he and Sammy the Bull Gravano, and you could see that there's not a lot of love between those two guys. And but yeah, Michael Francesi's amazing. So okay, not telling you guys something you don't know, right? He did a boxing match of a podcast with Sammy. Difference between Sammy the Bull and Michael Francesi is Michael Francesi wasn't a rat. He didn't rat anybody out. He left the life. But yeah, Sammy is an awesome storyteller. But there's still a contract on Gravano's head. Would ever be carried out? Probably not. What's the point? Now, John Gotti's dead, and, a lot of people... Gotti, if had Gotti stayed on the street, Gotti was going to get whacked at some point, because if you look at the history of the American mafia, showboaters like that you just didn't last that long. Gotti was really an anomaly. When you look at a lot of the dons of the time, like Sam Giancana, or not Sam Giancana, who was it? Shit. Well, like Angelo Bruno from Philadelphia, very low key. Oh God, who's the guy I'm thinking of though? Carlo Gambino. You look at Carlo Gambino. The only thing Carlo Gambino had, his only sign of like bit of ostentatiousness was. We should have a mafia chat some night. Was he had a personalized license plate. That's all Carlo Gambino did, and Michael Francesi said that Carlo Gambino was probably the most powerful man at the height of La Cosa Nostra. Which, by the way, La Cosa Nostra is bad Italian. So here's an Italian lesson for you, right? So this word, La Cosa Nostra, which is what the American mob is actually called. The mafia is actually the crime organization that's in Sicily, and the two aren't related. So that's actually what that literally means is the hour thing. And I don't know where the la got tacked onto, because la it's a feminine Italian article because it ends in A. It should just be called Cosa Nostra, not La Cosa Nostra. But the FBI calls it that, and they shorten it to LCN. But so there's some bad Italian grammar for you. It makes no sense. The hour thing. You studied those guys growing up, and I grew up around them, MV. So it would be fun. Sammy would disagree with me though about Michael being a rat. I know. I saw the podcast. He's saying that Francesi did rat people out. Francesi said he didn't. The only reason I give Michael Francesi a little bit of street cred is he speaks all over the world. He was just in Blighty. He was just in the United Kingdom earlier. Was it late last year? He was speaking in Liverpool. I think he spoke in London. He was in Birmingham. I think in Manchester. Lucky Luciano, yep, coined Cosa Nostra after. MV, you know your mob history, the Castellamarese War. And Michael Francese does give great life advice. I want to join his inner circle someday because this guy is just all about and positivity and talk about walking out of that life is amazing. Pib99 says, my uncle had some mafia ties. He used to turn over his gun to my mom's mother when he visited. Oh, yeah. Boy, and that was one thing you didn't. You would go to, like, the house where the wife was. You did not. Man, you didn't bring your firearm in, buddy. And if you did, you turned it over. You get whacked. Whacked. So I'll say this. I'm not trying to lionize Cosa Nostra at all. And I think, Michael Francese's even talked about this as well. My mafia ties are a lot closer. It wasn't just I was around those guys. Not that I was in the mafia, but someday I'll tell my story. And the reason why I came back right to Europe back from Europe or whatever. But I don't want to get into that right now, but it is a true story. That you had to mess with the mob first. You look at today, look at the street gangs that we have, man. Crips, the Bloods, the Latin Kings, MS-13. They'll just kill you. Right? And again, I'm not lionizing the mob. They were criminals. No ifs, ands, or buts. But you didn't get Cosa Nostra guys that just wantonly just shot up people like these street punks. And when the mob ran Vegas, you didn't have street gangs. You could walk off the Las Vegas Strip at 4 in the morning and nobody was going to mess with you. When the mob lost control in the early 80s, then that's when go to Vegas now and walk off the Strip, the Las Vegas Strip, at 2 in the morning. Go ahead, give it a try. See how that works out for you. It's just not going to happen because the five families said, "All right, we're all here to make money," and they didn't tolerate that shit. So, Raymond Patriarca, boss of the New England crime family. Patriarca was a tough dude, man. Of course, Nicky Scarfo. You guys know about Nicky Scarfo, who after Angelo Bruno was whacked. Nicky Scarfo, boss of the Philadelphia family, Little Nicky. Don't ever call him Little Nicky. He would kill you for that. That Philadelphia mob, crazy. Of course, New Jersey's family, the Cavalcantes. Yep, there we go. MV, Philly, Nicky Scarfo. Robbie, are you even in here on this? Here, we're talking mafia now. There's no mafia in Texas, so. Little Nicky Scarfo, yep. And he was exiled for a while to Atlantic City. You read his story, and then Nicky came back. But I think one of the most fascinating characters in organized crime history, came from Cleveland. Danny Green, the Irishman, right? Danny Green took on the Cleveland mob and said, "You know where I am. Here's my address." Did it on the news. There's a great movie called Kill the Irishman, which is phenomenal. Danny Green finally killed by a car bomb. The Italians kept trying to kill him. They even got the Gambino family involved. They finally did whack Danny Green. But here's this guy, he's sitting there, man, and he's just messing with the mob the whole way through. He's like, "You know where I am. Come get me. Here's my address. I'm going to start a Celtic club here, an Irish club here." Danny Green, man. Talk about some, balls, right? Definitely an explosive ending for Danny Green, but pretty tough. And, of course, the Irish Westies in New York with Coonan and Mickey Featherston. Those guys were wicked, man. They were wicked. But the problem with the Irish in organized crime in America was that the Irish could never get themselves organized. What's new? But going into Irish Mob, Road to Perdition is a brilliant movie. Really, really good stuff. If you guys have never seen Road to Perdition, it's every bit as beautiful as far as cinematography and every bit about as family. For me, Road to Perdition is kind of the Irish version of The Godfather. And it's one of Paul Newman's last movies, and he is towering in that one. Chicago, the Irish were strong in the 20s and 30s. Yeah, they were. Bugs Moran, Dini O'Banion. Especially O'Banion. O'Banion was brilliant. But then, along came Lucky Luciano and said to the Irish, you're going to be aldermen and judges and politicians, right? Joe Kennedy was a bootlegger for the mob. And unfortunately, his son Bobby made enemies of the very same people that helped John F. Kennedy get elected president. That's a whole nother can of worms right there. Sam Giancana hated the Kennedys. And if you guys saw the movie The Irishman, Jimmy Hoffa hated them. Absolutely hated the Kennedys. And history bears it out, too. So, anyhow. Hey, Steve, he just got an installed baseball for Windows. MV, he beat you. He beat you. MV, bring it up. We're talking about mobsters here, Steve. We'll get back to baseball in a minute. Yep, so Diano Banyan, Jaime Weiss, Vincent the Schemer Drucci, Bugs Moran. Oh, the right? Yep, Goosenberg brothers. Don't get you going. I'll be glad to get you going, man. Are you kidding me? Hell yeah. Great stuff. So Steve beat ya. So Steve, I guess we got to figure out a way that I've got to send some distribution your way, right? Right. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more. Say no more. Got to figure out how to do that. So we'll work that out. All right. So we went from baseball to Cosa Nostra to wow. We should make an all Mafia team. The next hour or so, you're also going to get the neural voice narrator edit in the Windows 11 registry to test that out with Action PC. All right, I'll have to catch that after the fact, but that will be awesome. I'm going to close off here pretty soon. But it's going to be awesome. So Steve, I'll send you an email or whatever, and we'll figure out a way to do a data transfer to you. Okay? Oh yeah, those APBA ratings. Ken would be really, really helpful in that. MV, I'm thinking about 2 weeks for you. I really do. I think it's going to be about 2 weeks. Steve says, and the numbers base 1 to 10, with 10 being the best. Oh my God. We really need Ken Castro because it's been forever. I'm guessing you could probably find. Let me see something, Steve, because APBA did not. They didn't copyright like Strat did. They didn't copyright their stuff. Let me see something. Maybe I think I remember seeing something. Let me search something here for you. And remember, this is the master game, but I think there's a lot of stuff that's the same. But Ken Castro would be invaluable. He knows everybody. Is this the one? Oh, Steve, I found you something that I think will be exactly what you want. All right, so Steve, check this out. I think this might be a big help for you. Okay. It's a PDF. It's good stuff. I think you'll like it. And besides that, I'm going to be sending enough stuff. It's not like it's going to break the bank. So, You'll be all right. So these are the baseball master game instructions that I just linked to you guys, and there's chart and table instructions on there. It talks about arm ratings, things like that. So this should at least give you guys a start as far as APBA goes. So certain player cards of 7, 8, or 11s included in their 36 second column results. And remember, in Baseball for Windows, you can bring up the player card, and and as you're consulting this document and other sources, those things will start to make sense to you. It even shows you how to card them up and stuff, or to interpret old cards. But it's this thing's 16 pages, so hopefully it'll help you. Clinton Parks might be another good one because he plays games that are reverse engineered versions of APBA. So, do we have any Cosa Nostra words of wisdom to part out today? Steve, you're not going to like it as much as Action PC Baseball. So we know that. Nothing's coming up when you touch on that link. Seriously? Let me see if it's doing it for me. That's funny, Robbie, because when I click it, it's right there. So I just opened it again. So just use Google, Robbie, and do what I Googled was guide to APBA baseball ratings, I think, and that's how I found that document. It worked fine for Steve. So, Robbie, do you think maybe you have something on your PC that's? You're welcome, Steve. Hopefully that helps. Robbie, do you have maybe something on there that's blocking PDFs or blocking things, downloads? You might want to check your firewall settings or something. Or, yes, operator error. That's the first thing in IT. Is it plugged in? Is it turned on? By the way, I'm guilty of that too. Steve, the other day, or yesterday, in that big, long stream that I did with doing like a lot of these baseball games, and I'm like, I don't know why, but what I'm seeing on my screen is showing up on the little screen while you're monitoring, like your chat and everything, you get that little screen. What I accidentally did, I accidentally clicked on that little window, and all that time, the stream, what I was monitoring was paused. So talk about operator error. There you go. I'm like, damn it, I've been that's why I kept asking, what are you guys seeing on the screen? And I looked, and I'm like, I'll be damned. I had that paused. So serious operator error. Thank you. That got a shit ton of views, if you pardon my gutter speak here for a second. It got a lot of views, so I'm glad people liked it. It did get off into a Action PC short instructional video, and then a Baseball for Windows love fest. But I think people had fun with it. A couple people picked up some games that they didn't have before, so that was nice. Yeah, well, we're going to go deeper down memory lane coming up here with some super old baseball games at some point that are a little harder to yeah, it'll be fun. I'm actually gonna do a couple innings of micro league baseball here soon on the channel, the very first edition. So, and if I can get Lance Hafner baseball to work, I'll get that on here because I've never played that game ever. Okay, you have the most current baseball for Windows and Diamond Mine games, so yeah. And again, Steve, I've got to email you because we got to figure out how I'm probably have to put the stuff I want to send you on Google Drive or something like that. I don't know how to do it, or if you can show me, like, do I need to create a thing on MediaFire? Maybe I can just do them on MediaFire. So, tons of files, tons and tons and tons of files. Lance popped your cherry in digital gaming. Oh, I thought you knew it was on there, MV. Snag it, man. Old time baseball. It's awesome. So Pib99 says he has the Hafner file somewhere. He's never played it, though. I'm jealous, man. Do you even have them? So I never, ever got a chance to play Lance Hafner baseball, and people talk that it's awesome. MV's getting old time baseball. It's pretty cool, MV. It's got, again, there's no switch hitters in the game, unfortunately. All the switchies bat right-handed. And go into those manager preferences like I instructed yesterday, and take that slider all the way up for each manager for runners to advance on a base hit, or you're going to get a lot of singles coming off the wall. And the other tip is play with Mel Allen as the broadcaster. He says a lot more names than Kurt Gowdy. It's a flawed gem, but it's a nice game. It's a fun little game. And for $7, if you just did the $7 for a day, for you, 5 pounds or something, it's a bargain. It was good for its. Are you talking about old time baseball, Steve? Or are you talking about Lance Hafner? Yeah, I still love old time baseball. You're talking about Lance Hafner. It was editable. So was old time baseball. So that's why I was confused. So Hafner was editable. I again, never having played it, I feel inadequate now. I feel so terribly inadequate, gentlemen. But oh, your computer's recording a Federal League game. Okay. Robbie, I hope you do a premiere or just live stream sometime, because you don't have to talk. I live stream all these Ernie games, and that way you just chat with people. The only reason I'm offering that is not to pressure you, but I think people will stay a little bit longer when you're interacting with them and stuff like that. Just an idea. But I know with having a phone, that's kind of hard. Because you're trying to interact with the chat on a little phone while your game's going on the main screen. So I can get why that would be a little difficult. And besides, you might get a chance to talk Mafia with everybody. Talk about the rackets, right? MV, you know what, my friend? If you can figure out how to install those additional universes, I got them as well, and I can't figure out how to install them for old time baseball. If you can figure that out, MV, you will be my hero, second only to Steve Tate. If we ever start talking about the Beatles, you'll be here all day. You know, that's funny. I've never actually done a Beatles chat on this channel. I've talked about them a tiny bit, but I've never actually gotten into a big Beatles chat. You guys don't want that to happen, because it could happen. So Steve says, I can see myself firing up APBA for background entertainment while he works. Yeah. It's another resource used as a reference. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So MV, if you can figure out how to get those additional universes into old-time baseball, please let me know. Because I wanna mess with them, and I can't. So I'm stuck just up to from 1871 to 1981, and I want those additional 10 years, and I can't figure out how to do it. Thank you, MV. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Well, you know, Steve, while you're creating the Negro League file and you go back to work in your 5-year files, have APBA on in the background. I mean, talked about that way earlier. The Ernie game ended 2.5 hours ago, Steve. 2.5 hours ago, I did an Ernie game on here. And I told everybody, I'm just going to come on for a couple of minutes and talk about something. And so we see where that goes. Just finished Rube Foster. High Heat. Yeah, DOSBox is a pain in the arse, man. I used to play High Heat back in the day. I think the last version I played was 2003. I liked that game. It actually had a manager mode in it. So, all right, guys. Well, Steve's going to be doing some Action PC baseball apparently coming up in a while, and Robbie Wartburg right now, as we speak, is doing a will be uploading if anyone's done of the Federal League in Baseball for Windows. Yes, MV, just easy setup download, because that DOSBox is already configured for you that way. I want MLB The Show to come to PC too. I really do. I have a PlayStation sitting over here, but I'm not a console gamer. I really wish MLB The Show would come to PC, because that's a great looking game. But I have something cool to show you guys sometime. Super Mega Baseball 3 is as deep as MLB The Show. It's cartoony looking, but it's fun. Oh my God, is it fun. So something to play until or unless MLB The Show does come to PC, which I don't know. It would look better on PC than on a PlayStation. You know? It would look, any game looks better on a PC than it does on a console. I don't know why they don't put it out on the PC market. Doesn't make any sense. What do you mean, MV? MV saying Forever Remain 90 says he's too old now for buttons games. You can set the difficulty on him, though. It's not so bad. You're not that old, dude. Come on. You're not that old. So, MV, you don't, as far as downloading, the easy setup and download, you don't need DOSBox at all. It comes with the game, right? So, great. MV is doing, he says you can create thousands of teams and he'll just GM his team. I didn't know there were classic teams for MLB The Show. Shit, now I might have to hook up my PS4 here. If they say just download, those are not ready. It's the ones, MV, that say easy that you want to download because they're already configured. Right, easy download means that it just will run. You don't have to worry about DOSBox. Just like we do when Beatles plays APBA. Oh, God. Yeah, stay away. Yeah, you do. Okay, let me see. Yeah, no, easy download here. I'm getting ahead of you, I think. Easy, I'm going to type it in here. Easy download means you do not need to use DOS. Yeah, DOS box. There we go. Yeah, when I play APBA offline, I manage. But when I play it online, it's just so I can really interact with you guys in the chat. I can't be arsed to manage. Okay, but what if you wanted to play the ones that say download? Is it easy to use DOSBox? So there's some great guides out there for DOSBox. It's not impossible. Just it takes a little bit of work because you've got to sometimes, because you had back on the old PCs, you had two things. You had something called extended memory and expanded memory. You also had to set that up. You had to set up the what were they called? You had to worry about IRC interrupts or something. You had to get those right, configure your sound card, and that's usually Sound Blaster, by the way. So if you do use DOSBox, there's actually front ends. There's a front end for DOSBox that you can use too that does make it a bit easier. But yeah, for now, just use the easy download stuff and wait for your cassette thingy for the arcade games and stuff like that. DOSBox isn't impossible. There is a front end, but it can be a bit of a pain in the arse. So just fair warning if you do get into the DOSBox land. Yeah, DOSBox is weird, but now people have apparently they're getting the Hafner game to run in Windows, but people are saying they can't see their seasons. So I'm going to wait till everybody else does the heavy lifting. So MV having a good time today. He says so far his front page baseball, PFS 2009 and old time from easy download. He's so happy to get front page sports. Yeah, I should probably get that, but my favorite from that site was Old Time Baseball. I was over the moon when I saw that was available on there, and I didn't have to mess with DOSBox. Because I do have a DOSBox version of it that I did get to run, and then I found that. I'm like, forget it. This is forget about it. This is the one I want. All right, guys, I'm gonna cut it off right here, so that way I can kind of get ready to do what I got to do. And thank you for hanging out today. This was not supposed to be an almost 3-hour stream. It was supposed to be a half hour, 40 minutes. So to MV, and we'll do it, right? Molto grazie a tutti. I'm saying thank you to all in Italian. You're welcome. All right. Danka Forever Main 90. So the Forever Main 90. MV Robbie Wartburg. Steve Tate. Pib 99. Ciao Paisano. Robert Wartburg. And I actually think we got everybody. Oh, and Arnold Hunter. We had Arnold Hunter in for a little bit. Cousin Ken Castro was here for a little while. Thank you, Cousin Ken, for dropping by. You missed our great Mafia chat. And that's it. That is it. And if I missed you way back, it's because the chat doesn't archive all that. See you guys next time, probably sometime tomorrow in the afternoon. Until then, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're welcome, Robbie. Thank you for everything, guys, and see you around the batting cage.